Well, there goes the Daverhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on this Memorial Day weekend, like all other Memorial Day weekends, here. And, it's a kind of a gray, overcast day, which is actually mostly my kind of weather, so long as it isn't raining, here in New York, which is our place in the Daverhood, has been for about a year and a half now. Before that, we were in Colorado, before that, New York. But really, the Daverhood stretches itself all over the world, all over the universe, as we have been for 17 and a half years, doing the Dave's Gone By Facebookio, Podcastio, Programmio of the stream. With me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce. I do believe Potato. Where's Potato? I don't know.
Oh, no, they photobomb. Oh, is it Charlie Chaplin?
I don't know. Or someone like Pirelli from Sweeney Todd, somebody with a seriously Italian mustache. Not Potato. I don't know where Potato could be. This is just some stranger.
I think he went on vacation.
Really? Well, or he went to London and he rode the Tuber train. Yeah, those are the kind of jokes we do for 3 bloody hours here.
He's sequestered in the soil.
He is. I know if I were sequestered in soil, I'd probably be soiling myself, as I have many times. Yeah. We're just getting started. I'm just getting my throat warmed up, ladies and gentlemen. I think I might possibly have COVID.
That would not be something to say.
Well, no, I have. Yesterday, at some point, my throat started feeling a little tickly, a little itchy. Well, you say what?
Because we tried to just get gas, and there were 750,000 gardeners. It was like people were in the street with lawnmowers. There were men with weed whackers. I've never seen so many people doing lawn work in my life at one time.
Yeah.
It was like, hey, everybody, this is maybe people who work on Monday were working on Friday. It was like
because they wouldn't be working on Mondays because the holiday.
It was like everybody was like, if you wanted to do something, there was one lady. A nice lady, I always see her. She's an older woman. Yeah. Someone brought her like a SUV full of like pots of flowers. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean it's in Long Island here, so we get lawn work all week long.
Sprawl,
yeah, but Friday afternoon, it was literally like the last chance before Donald Trump closed the border. All the Mexicans were in town just cutting lawns and doing flowers, and we're driving it. I don't racist much. But I'm just saying that's what it was, man. And maybe that was it. Maybe that was why I've got this tickle. I've got. And also feels. I don't want to say this, but yesterday it was hurting a little when I swallowed.
Oh,
which did not make me popular in the gay clubs. But
we have the AC, and I feel like the air conditioner, and then when everybody's cutting grass, and the air conditioner's bringing, circulating that air.
Yeah, we started using the AC this week, and without really cleaning the filter first, which may not have been the best idea. So there's gunk on that filter that's been building up for half a year. It was cleaned at the end of last season, and then I just flipped it on.
1957.
Could have been. So all of that together, combined, could be the reason why my throat is a little sore. Your eyes were itchy. My eyes are not particularly itchy. So either it's just this allergy that'll go away in a day.
Your eyes are itchy.
Or in joke. Or I'm dying of COVID. It's one of the two things. There's no in between, by the way.
Really?
It's either absolutely nothing at all to worry about, or death in 3 days.
I believe, David, that they call that black and white thinking, where you have no gray, right? You either on or off switch. Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, I kind of, sometimes it's easier in life to think that way.
Really?
To think it's either going to be nothing at all to be concerned with, or get your last will and testament done.
You look very pretty in the purple on the screen.
Well, thank you. Thank you ever so much, my darling.
You're pretty in pink purple.
Isn't he pretty in pink?
Isn't he?
When you said that, 2 people logged off the video.
Oh, no.
They're like disagreeing immediately. Saying, no, we don't need to look at this man for 3 hours doing Dave's Gone By in the Daverhood. Anyway, so let me explain what the show is and has been for 17 and a half years.
It's not a dance party.
No. That disappoints our friend. He was going to do a tubertella.
Do you know him?
Do you?
No.
No, who could he be? Okay.
Perot, Hercule,
That's it.
Hercule Poirot.
His Hercule Poirot. And what is the mystery? Can you solve the mystery of coronavirus, Michelle? Do you know if it was from people like cutting open live bats and something flying out of that? Is it just somebody having naughty fun with a monkey? Was it a lab thing? Was it just a mutated version of the regular flu? No parle l'anglais, signore. Well, that was not helpful at all. Apparently, he doesn't speak English. He speaks a French potato language, which he kind of does on the fry. Sorry. I am not amused, Michelle. Not amused at all. By the way, welcome to Maggie and my Aunt Bonnie. Hello, Aunt Bonnie. And to John. Welcome, John. John of, I wonder how John's doing, man, because he deals with original cast recordings of Broadway and off-Broadway shows. There's actually a golden opportunity to release some old stuff and stuff from the vaults and collections and things like that.
Me. I don't know what. Ooh.
Or people, doing, a lot of people are creating music at home and doing live Facebook broadcasts and Zoom broadcasts, and they're recording these things, and maybe people are making some really interesting and theater-related music. Just off the top of my head thinking that. But anyway, Dave's Gone By mixes talk and humor and culture and interviews a lot of the times. It's been an eclectic, eccentric show, which is just the way I like it.
Had excellent guests.
Oh, yeah. Well, even in recent times, let's see, recent weeks, we've had people like Ben Catcher, the cartoonist who won the
MacArthur.
Is that the Genius Grant? Yeah, the MacArthur Genius Grant. We have had the owner of the Soho Playhouse, and forgive me for not remembering his name. I'm so sorry, man.
Brian?
No, he's
So
I know it's on Van Dam Street in New York. And I know I've been there 50 to 100 times in my life, and I'm forgetting. Well, anyway, so the guy who runs the Soho Playhouse,
brain fart.
and a guy who's been doing a show at Soho Playhouse for 12 years, Ted Greenberg, was on last week talking about The Complete Performer and his other stuff and his years writing at Letterman. What else?
Everybody. You've had so many good people.
Oh, yeah. Whether it's this year or years past, we don't actually have a guest on this particular episode of Dave's Gone By, unless you count. Bonjour. What are you here for, Monsieur Le Patate? Hercule Poirot. I'm trying here. I wasn't planning to do this. Is there a song you would like to sing? Something Aznavourian, perhaps? What? Ahem. Fuera, Jacques Strap. Fuera. No, that's Nasty Potato. Don't be singing that. Shame on you. I feel like Uncle Floyd and Oogie today. Anywho. And they weren't funny either. So this is the deal. On this episode of the program, we have some of our long-running stuff, like John will certainly appreciate, that we have our Inside Broadway segment. We're going to be talking about the theater, even though there's no theater at the moment to talk about. Yeah, and it will be a while before there is, but there's still stuff bubbling under. Shows that are kind of now being announced that will very likely happen, if not towards the end of the year, then in spring of 2021. So I'm going to let you know what those are. And then some awards announcements, too, in the theater towards the end of what would have been this past season. So that is our Inside Broadway segment. That's kind of cool. We will also have our Greeley Crimes and Old Times segment taken from the newspaper. There we go. The Trib. Still in print, just barely. But they have a column or two columns that they run in there. One is devoted to stories that were in the Greeley area newspapers back 100 years ago, like 1920. And so some of them are fun and weird and nostalgic and cute. They collect those, and they've also been collecting the weirdest phone calls that come into the police department dispatch in town over the past couple of weeks. So we mix them together and we call that segment Greeley Crimes in Old Times. Plus, we will have our Today Yesterday quiz. This is kind of fun. It's a trivia quiz where I'll ask some questions about this date in history. So today is May 23rd.
It's my grandmother's birthday, if she were alive.
Which grandmother was this?
May.
Grammy Mae. I knew her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she passed, was at least a decade ago at this
God.
point.
Did you know her before she had the impairment, cognitive impairment stuff?
Yeah, I kind of did. I knew her before she died.
She was like Lucy. She was a buster.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, do you have any stories about Grammy Mae?
My grandmother used to run a card party. So my grandmother, who knows what religious affiliation she was, but she used to run this. I think they were Lutherans. And she used to run like a bunco, like a card party. And I remember being like a child, like 6 or 7, and I'd have to serve coffee to all the women at the tables with these cheese buns. And I'd have to say you could only take 1 bun per person. And then I'd have to distribute the prizes. And then after like Labor Day or Memorial Day, we'd have a parade, and I'd have to go and serve hot dogs to the veterans, like hot dogs. And
really?
Yeah, like we'd have it was like a huge kitchen. And yeah, but we weren't of that religious affiliation. I don't know, my Nana, my great-grandmother got in with that church, and we did service. And then one time at that, we were doing a market, and we were in the basement of the church sorting things, and the police came in because they thought we were like breaking in the church, I remember. And my grandmother was like, we're doing a flea market, we're sorting the goods, you know?
Yeah, and then, it was pretty obvious when the minute the police walked in.
I mean, my grandparents then probably were in their 60s, you know? And the police were great. And I just remember, like, after, I think it was Memorial Day, because we had flags and stuff, everybody would come into the hall, and it was like a VFW kind of look, you know? And we just serve, like, massive amounts of hot dogs to people, you know, and have, like, I don't know what people drank, but it was like a nice, you know, and so she was very strict, but she also was very charitable to other people. And
Grammy Mae.
But I remember.
Well, did you? I'm always wondering about this because I don't remember emotionally when you when you helped out with either the hot dogs at the parade or around the bunco table. I think I apologize for that. Maybe it's the atmospheric conditions. Maybe it's Comcast Xfinity Cablevision that stinks. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe I'm radiating so much energy that I'm burning the circuits out on our interwebs and our Wi-Fi. But I apologize. I lost my visual. Oh, I guess I'm back. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, you had to check that we're here.
No, I didn't. But you're depixelating.
Oh, you joined.
Yeah, but look.
Let's see. Well, let's see how it goes. If it really becomes problematic and impossible. So please, those of you who were tuned in, please tune back in.
No, look.
Well, there goes the day. Oh, I already did that. Welcome back. Please come back. The day has gone by. Facebook, your podcast, your program, of the stream continues. I apologize. I'm hoping that in this room, the atmospherics are better. For those of you who are watching the first 10, 15 minutes of the show, we were having internet difficulties. I lost the visual on my screen, and Joyce was checking the monitor on her computer, and it was all breaking up and pixelating. And if you've ever been pixelated, he has been pixelated most of his life. I mean, he's French. He drinks. In fact, what's kind of cool is he's self-replenishing. He drinks his own vodka. It was kind of, how dry I am, how dry I am, nobody knows how dry I am, except now you know, because I just told you, so the song makes no sense. I'm going to go now. Yeah, it's a little cameo there.
Nice.
From Hercule Potato. Dave Lefkowitz here with the, I know I should have just taken this week off. It's a holiday weekend. We're having internet atmospheric trouble. I don't have a guest. I couldn't get a guest this week. I'm going to be honest with you. I should have said, you know what, it's the holiday weekend. I've got enough to do on this episode of Dave's Gone By without having a guest on, without having Rabbi Saul Solomon talking to someone, because I do. I told you, I've got Inside Broadway to do. We're going to have Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We're going to have our Wretched Pun of Destiny, all about Sir David Attenborough. Ooh. Plus, we'll have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, or any other things. So we're looking at bringing back, from the days of yore, Dave's Big Dick Dictionary, where Joyce, my wonderful and adorable wife, is going to thumb through a dictionary, pick out a word at random, and I'm just going to go with it. I'm just going to expound on it for 5 or 10 minutes. Kind of fun thing that I was doing a couple of years ago. We let that segment slide because we had some others to do, but we're bringing it back this week. So all of that to do on Dave's Gone By Ahead. We don't really need a guest, which is kind of neat, but it pisses me off a little bit how hard it's been to get guests the past 2 or 3 weeks. We had some wonderful ones, and it was great, and some of them were last minute. But it's interesting that nobody's got anything to do for the past 2 months, right? We're sequestered. We're at home.
Here you go.
I know, but it's worse this week.
You're such a negative.
I am a negative person. I'm Jewish, as you well know, and then raised with that Jewish shtetl New York post-Holocaust mentality. And I'm like, we've been very lucky. We've had no problem with food, with shelter. Thank God Joyce and I have been healthy, and my family's been healthy. I mean, no complaints about that. And yet...
You've got 3 viewers, Bubba.
Great, fantastic. Who are they? I'm not seeing who they are.
So I'm in as me. I'm not in as
Oh, so don't worry.
I just said, please rejoin us. We are back with better connectivity, and I put 2 chocolate chip cookies.
Oh, nice.
Who does not like a chocolate chip cookie?
Nobody does not like it. Honestly,
I once had a student who was allergic to chocolate. Like, I can't eat it because of my migraines, but being allergic to chocolate.
Well, that doesn't mean she didn't like what?
Phil, our friend from the left coast.
Phil, how are you, my man?
Dave.
Phil, hugs to you. If I knew you were around, I would have had you, because Phil was a guest on the show a couple of weeks ago.
Phil would have been a cool guest, yeah.
Yeah, he's been on the show. We're glad to have you back. If I were doing a Zoom meeting, I would have had you. But how are you? But you can type to me, Phil. Hope that you're well.
I hope Phil can type because he's a writer.
Good point. Phil is a screenwriter out in California.
And Edith is my kinsman. She's my kinsman.
Meaning what? Oh, her last name is the same as my wife's last name, which we're not supposed to say on the air.
No, but it's some name, yeah. It's some name that exists.
Oh, I'm glad Phil is doing well.
He's doing well, yeah.
I got in touch with Phil because I got in touch with a guy who directed a short film that I co-wrote with him way back in my NYU days. So anyway, and Svi is doing well too, and hope that everything's going well for everybody. But anyway, if you want to actually type to me, Phil, what project you're currently working on, what's new on IMDb for you, anything else. How's your kids doing? Are they in college yet? I can't even follow these things.
One.
Yeah.
One child, one girl.
Oh, how's your kid? Sorry, I pluralized her because my eyes aren't what they used to be. So when I look at her, I see several of her. So it's just one child. I hope that she's doing great. What the hell? Where was I? So we're back. And I was pissed off.
You're always pissed off.
No, Rabbi Saul is always pissed off. I'm pissed off about 90% of the time. But it's kind of like I'm contacting people via Facebook and via their official emails. And I know it's not like they're running around doing stuff. It's not like they're getting ready for a concert, right? It's not like they're flying off to Los Angeles to do some kind of movie role, or they're hunkered down with another composer and a lyricist and a couple of dancers working out something for an off-Broadway show. They're home. They are, or they should be, home. And they're on Facebook because I see they're active now. Okay, they've seen my message. And yet, it's kind of like, do I want to be on this guy's program? Well, I don't get it. I honestly, by the way, it's not like I'm approaching Neil Young and Justin Bieber and Mick Jagger and people like that. No, I'm approaching people that are notable to me and people in like theater and cabaret circles who might be interested in hearing from these folks and not and that level of people. And it is amazing. And it has been like this really since the beginning of the show. It has always amazed me that sometimes the most famous people, the people who would be most inapproachable,
or the most humble, right?
not only the most humble, but the most easy to sort of like, you get to their agent, the agent sets something up.
Well, they're used
it's
to
done.
it. You know, it's like if you're a dancer and you dance every day, then you can dance very easily. But if you dance once a year, you don't know how to do it. You know,
I guess.
They're more in the routine of it. Right?
But I've always been amazed at people that I think I'm almost doing them a favor by asking them to be on the program. And then it's like, oh, I can't this, and I don't want to, and they don't return calls.
You know what that's called, David?
What?
Life.
Well, how is that? I mean, why is that like that?
Because things happen. Sometimes people are difficult.
And one time, when they get back to me, I'm not mad. There was one person that I wanted to have on last week, and this person said, you know, I'm in a bad place right now. I don't have COVID, but this whole thing has really put me in a mentally bad place. I don't want to be on your show. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to write back and say, being in a bad place is the best place to be on this program.
Oh, God. It's
this program is a bad
place. It's like shout therapy. Remember shout? Remember shout therapy?
Janoff and Scream from Primal Scream.
Primal Scream,
yeah. This program is a primal scream of the soul, at least for me. Mm-hmm. So, like, the more depressed you are, the better. Come on.
The more angry and enraged.
I'll do a Zoom interview, or Rabbi Saul will do a Zoom interview with you. Bring a razor. In the middle of the interview, hold up your wrist. Do it.
Oh, no.
Dude, that's great TV.
No, that's horrible.
All right, yeah, I'm kind of squeamish. I'd probably faint, but it would still be great, television.
No, we would get you help. We would call somebody. So I'm a mandated reporter. If I saw that, I'd call somebody.
Would you really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Right away. 911. Get people over there.
So I call a couple of old friends. Like, you gotta watch this.
Oh, David.
He's bleeding all over the screen. It's fantastic. I kid because I hate. But here's the deal. That person, whom I hope to get on in later programs, it was very good. Answered right away. Said, sorry, the show seems cool, but I'm just not in a headspace where I can do this. Oh, I got a message from Christina, who is saying, where are the potatoes? Oh. And the question is, we don't know where the potatoes are this week. All we have is a representative who is obviously not a potato. He's a Frenchman named Hercule Potato. No, pomme de terre. No. I think the potatoes are very worried because people barbecue on Memorial Day weekend, and they make lots of mash and
salad,
baked. Yeah. And yes, exactly. So they're all hiding at the moment. And this is their emissary. They've hired their agent, essentially, and their private investigator. Private investigator. That's it. He's a private investigator. Oui. I would like my egg soft boiled. I cannot get with the tea.
Oh no.
Yeah, he's
such a diva.
I know, right? Anyway, you know what we would call him? Wait, let me do the joke.
What?
He's Agatha Crispy. Hey, do you have your noise machines? Where are they? Take the noise machines. That was worthy. Thank you, Agatha Crispy. Anywho. Oh, you just joined. Thank you. I have a viewer. And Christina and John.
Christina and Bobby. Deborah's Bobby.
Hey, Bobby. That's my cousin. Yeah, how are you doing, Bobby?
Yeah, through marriage, Bubba.
Yeah. Bobby, the cool thing about Bobby is for no particular reason, I got in the habit many, many years ago when they were first dating. When my
they were dating since Deborah, they were teens, I think.
Yeah. And first couple of times I met him, he's not a particularly fat person, but I would go...
We had an alert. Christina said, don't keep him out in the sun or he'll be a French fry. So we had potato puns.
No, madame. This is not funny, no. No, but I would go to Bobby and press my face into his belly and go... Which, by the way, is what I used to do to my dad when I was growing up. I don't know why I'm into it. It's just a thing. There's nothing sexual about it. Do you want
to talk about the time you kissed your dad?
No, I don't. There was nothing sexual about that either. You're more than welcome. What was I going to do? I think somebody was telling me I should kiss my dad because I'm not a kiss kind of a guy. I mean, I do with women, sure, but not relatives. I don't like. I hate makeup, so I don't like putting my lips to someone who's wearing makeup. But when a relative is telling you, "Come on, kiss your father," you say, yeah, "Okay, I'll kiss my." So I go and kiss my dad on the cheek, And he turned his face. And I wound up kissing very, very quickly my father on the lips. And the weirdest part was my mouth. I see your potatoes, but my mouth wasn't entirely closed. And he has the most acidic saliva. The closest thing that's ever happened to me, and I don't know why I did this, is the kind of moron that I am, was I once opened the back of a tape recorder that wasn't working. I did this. And I wasn't like 8. I think I was 14 or something. And the tape recorder wasn't working. It wasn't plugged in. It had batteries in it. So I opened the back of the tape recorder, and I pull out, I look it over, I pull out a battery, and it's wet. And I'm like, how the hell did it get wet in the back of the tape recorder? I didn't spill anything on this. And there was no flood. What was it sitting in? So, genius me. I take that thing, and I put the liquid to my tongue. And I realized that, it's battery acid. Yeah. And to this date, literally, the tip of my tongue is not ever quite fully had the taste buds that it used to, because I tasted battery acid. Because I'm, hey, what is this liquid on the back of my tape recorder? So the closest I've ever had to that experience was accidentally kissing my dad and getting like a tongue very briefly full of battery acid again. This is, that's... So I guess, how did I get to the dad? Oh, because I was telling about my cousin Bobby, and how who was apparently tuned. My friend Phil says that explains a lot. What does it explain, Phil? What on earth does it explain? So that's just a catchphrase. It's like it doesn't explain anything at all. My idiot personality would explain why I would lick a battery. Licking a battery doesn't explain anything about me, but what am I saying? But I would love to go to my cousin Bobby and just go his belly and like do the more than the mortarboard, not just like this like you do with a girl's boobs, but you just go like and make the fart noise. I think it
just became a way for you to harass him because what happened was Bobby, unlike us, Bobby is more quiet. So I think you wanted to just like harangue him, to just be silly, and that was your way of being silly.
Yeah, I mean, granted, there were times while I was doing that, I put my finger in his ass. But it was
he was very tolerant. He was very tolerant.
Yeah, he still is. He's a very cool guy.
He's a very good man.
Oh, and welcome to Chelsea. Hello, Chelsea, and welcome to the Daverhood. You're watching Dave's Gone By, the Facebook podcast Programmio of the stream. So thank you for inviting so many people. Thanks for so many people tuning back in.
240 people I invited before Facebook shuts me down.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I try.
Yeah.
I try. I'm only one human.
I know. I'm one human too, and we're doing the 747th episode of Dave's Gone By. That's right. We're calling it 747, ready for takeoff. Can you believe that we've been doing this since October of 2002? A mix of humor and talk and music. I'm Dorothy. Oh my God, Dorothy from Northern Colorado. Hello. And as I said, Chelsea, welcome to you too.
Wait, what?
Well, Dorothy, our neighbor, or not really our synagogue neighbor.
Dorothy?
No, or is it a different Dorothy? Or do we know how many Dorothys?
Our Dorothy is with God.
Wait, who? I guess it's a different Dorothy.
Show me the name. Let me see.
I can't. Well,
okay,
I really can't. The initials are KR. Forgive me if it's the wrong Dorothy. Yes, of course I'm right. See, she was from the. Do you not see her name?
Oh yes.
Thank you.
So tell Dorothy that one of my best friends was a 96-year-old woman called Dorothy. That's what.
Well, yes, I know. It was totally different. Yeah. Okay. No, there was a woman that Joyce would visit in.
So Christina was telling her daughter some New York City ER stories.
Oh.
You should have her on and have her as a guest to talk about the virus live.
Well, who we're talking about?
Christina, I think, is a nurse. I'm guessing, or a doctor.
I don't know. I'm actually not sure. Hello, Christina, by the way. But was I telling New York City ER stories?
No, she was. She was talking to them.
Well, she said some of your. You were telling them last week because you were. Wait, what? I'm so lost.
I'm working.
I am so freaking lost.
Oh,
now.
Christina said no.
No, okay. Yeah.
Today's opposite day.
No, I've been told no by a lot of women in my life. Way back in the old days. Okay. And by the way, Jeffrey, welcome to Jeffrey.
Maybe when. Okay.
Anywho, Jeffrey, welcome. And where are we going with this? I wanted to remind you that this is kind of a weird, kind of catch-all, fun, old-fashioned episode of Dave's Gone By with Greeley Crimes and Old Times, Inside Broadway, Wretched Pun of Destiny, our Today Yesterday quiz, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we're even bringing back Dave's Big Dictionary to make a fun sort of weekend kind of show. But if you want to hear all our old shows, remember that you can go to the website davesgoneby.com. Dave, like my name, davesgoneby.com. We have the first episode we ever did back in October of 2002. It was late night, late-ish night, it was 11 o'clock, on Long Island Commercial Radio. And we did a bunch of those. It was only an hour long, and then we went to 90 minutes, and then back to an hour, and we moved around. Sometimes we were on Monday nights, but we were at that station for several years, and then moved to Colorado. We were on the internet only for a little bit, and then we gravitated towards the University of Northern Colorado. Oh, okay.
What?
No. In the University of Northern Colorado radio, which, along with so much of that university, isn't really existing anymore. Let's see. We've also, since then, because UNC, unfortunately, about 3 years ago, kind of had to leave the radio station, we started doing, and this was Joyce's idea, we started doing this thing on Facebook. And that became this whole new avenue, this whole new area of finding new viewers and new people tuning in. And then just, I love the way things grow and evolve because we started doing Zoom just like a month ago. Started doing Zoom. And it's all been good. And we've saved so many of our episodes. Of the 740-something, 46, what?
Maybe Christina's talking about the guy who worked in the nursing home and did all this stuff. Remember the doctors, and they were talking about a lot of COVID stuff. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
I
Anyway,
apologize. They said since we changed rooms, we're still getting it
together.
together.
I'm still getting my head together. And who knows? I might have the COVID. I just might. My throat's feeling better, though. Yeah. It's weird. As I've started doing the show and started talking.
And I think it's the AC. I think with the gas station, we got something, too. That Supreme gas killed us.
What? You're so obsessed with this gas station. What do you think? It's like I hang the guy my credit card?
No, I also think like the smell of gas reeked of like
Oh,
gas.
hon, come on. You've lived with me for 20-something years. You know what the smell of gas is like. You know my gas is worse than anything coming out of BP. Thank you ever so much. But all those episodes are at davesgoneby.com, whether you want to stream them as, well, the first several years are audio only. We've saved the video ones too. They're free. You can skim through them. You don't have to listen to them beginning to end. davesgoneby.com. We're also posting our archives at archive.org. We have a special page there. And we have a page at castbox.fm for those of you who just want the audio and kind of want podcasts. So, hon, do you want to get to the place that we were living in for several years when we were in Colorado?
Yeah, sure.
Because you have no of these machines.
I didn't see Cynthia, because if we have the quiz, we need the
yeah, I'm waiting on that.
Sif?
It was
Sif.
Cynthia and Jeff are Sif, or was it
Sif?
Sif.
Yeah. They like Sif, like syphilis, but that's not Sif.
Yes.
We need our cousins because they know how to play.
So Cynthia and Jeff, do wave or say hi if you're there, and then we'll do our quiz coming up. But before then, what we like to do is return to the place that we were living for about 9 years in Colorado, Greeley. Beautiful, wonderful, sumptuous Greeley, Colorado, which has this newspaper, the Greeley Tribune. And even though the Tribune, like every other newspaper, has fallen on particularly hard times, it still comes out hard copy 4 times a week, and it still does one of the 2 columns that we do a segment about. One of the columns And it's called Top Log.
David, do you want to tell them they did an expose about when trees kill? How trees kill? That was, yeah.
This is still one of my favorite front pages.
Friendy, our friend Friendy sent this to us. They actually sent us this.
This was an actual
it's important.
front page of the Greeley Tribune from about a year or so ago. Okay, I mean...
Yes.
This isn't even the gardening section, and then notice... Let me hold this up properly. This is the most magnificent thing I've ever seen. All the ways a tree can kill you.
Is it holding the gun? Is that
it's holding a knife.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But anyway, the trip still exists, and they still do Cop Log. They still have a weekly segment where they compile
I'm afraid of zombies, right? This is an ongoing joke with my trainer. I think like vampires and zombies. But I can say this. I've never in my I've lived a long life. I've never been afraid of a tree.
Really?
Unless someone was like cutting it on me, I've never been like deathly afraid. Oh my God, that tree's gonna get a knife and like shank me. Like I've never had that experience of a tree.
Well, yeah, I have one experience with a tree. I was walking. I lick batteries. You should expect that I've had something to do with anything that would turn me into a neurotic idiot, right? So I was walking. You mentioned my grandmother Lucy a while ago. I was
walking your grandmother Lucy?
Yeah, well, she needed to be let around. No, she had a dog.
Problem.
She had a mutt dog named Buttons.
Oh.
Buttons was kind of a mutt mix of a little bit shepherd, a little bit mutt, and a little bit
rock and roll.
A little bit everything. I don't know if there was a little Rottie in her. She was a perfectly fine dog, but I was a young kid. So I go walking her down Church Avenue or down like Ocean Parkway where we were living in Brooklyn. And Buttons saw whether it was a squirrel or a car.
I think Buttons had a psychotic break.
Well, Buttons decided to suddenly go really fast.
How old were you?
I don't know. I was probably
37?
Yeah. I was probably 8 or something like that.
Should you have been walking a dog on alone at that age? I don't think
so. I think Grandma and
I was
Mom
not
and Dad
allowed
were there.
to walk my German Shepherd. And we got her when I was 8. She came to us. We rescued her.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk her until I was like 14.
Whoa.
I couldn't walk her when I was single digits.
Well, I mean, I wasn't alone outside doing this. I was. My folks were there, but I was the one holding the leash, and we were walking down, and suddenly Buttons decided to pulled me.
I think she saw a Coney Island hot dog. Or
that would do it, and didn't pull me off my feet, but just went boom straight forward and slammed me into a tree.
Oh, gee.
And I wasn't particularly badly hurt. However, I did get slammed into a tree, so I know that trees can potentially be
but it didn't kill you. It just sort of throttled you.
No. And I took it out on trees because what I used to do when I was bored, and I was, a lot of times I was bored. I've never been bored in my adult life. When I was a kid, there were times when I was bored and just in a bad mood, which is all the time.
Yeah, not much has changed.
And I would go to the trees on Ocean Parkway, and I would start picking at them. And I would pick the bark off the tree, and just keep doing that and try and get to the sort of the greenish, yellowish thing underneath. I don't know why I did it. I guess like some people pick themselves or cut themselves. To me, I was just like, I'll go to a tree and I pull the bark off. It was payback. It was payback for being slammed into one. I remember one old lady in Brooklyn on Ocean Parkway would come to me and say, don't, you're hurting the tree. The trees are beautiful. Don't do that.
You know what she was?
What?
Tree hugger.
Yeah, okay. In retrospect, she was right. In my mind, I probably cursed her out.
You were a very troubled child.
I was a horrible child, yes. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. And those trees. Those trees. Or if you missed last week, we were...
David, look at the pillows behind you, what they are.
There we go, ladies. Oh, they're attacking me. But last week we were thinking of having a holiday called Talk Like Miles Davis Day.
Oh, no.
So I'd be like, yeah, those trees are motherfuckers.
I don't like that.
I love it. I really think we should have Talk Like Miles Davis Day across America, where everybody just stumbles around in a heroin-induced or a fake heroin-induced stupor, and just calls everything and everybody a motherfucker. That I think is the greatest holiday of all time. So much more fun than Shoah, right? And then Yom Kippur. It's inclusive. You don't have to be Christian like with Easter
yeah, but
or
a lot
Christmas.
of people don't like to curse. I don't like to curse like in that way. I would not like it.
You could say
Fudge packer?
that is so much worse than motherfucker. Well, not really.
Fudge tracker.
Yeah, man.
How about mother lover?
Mother Lover's all right.
Mother lover.
In fact, there is
How
an
about
episode.
Danny Glover?
So that's pushing
It
it.
sounds simple. Danny Glover,
Danny
mother
Glover.
lover.
No, actually, there is an episode of Bob Dylan's radio show, Theme Time Radio,
Okay.
where he talked about
Isn't it his
a
birthday?
song, May 24th, where he talked about a song done back in like the 40s or 50s, where it was Mother Foyer, where they would slur the word, and that is Mother Foyer.
What's a mother foyer?
It was a nice way of saying the other word, and they could get away with it. It was more of a jazzy, sort of slurry way of saying the word. It's like Snoop Dogg doing faux shizzle.
I'm going to say David talks about trees that kill.
What about trees that kill? What?
What's the title of the article?
Oh, just trying to. What was it? I have it here. It's called "All the Ways a Tree Can Kill You."
I'll just say.
But anyway, yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know. I would love to get a poll going, and if you've ever seen my poll, you know how lovely it is. But I'd love to get a poll going of people saying, you know, do you want this as a national holiday? I know they're not going to be adding. So many people have been out of work. The last thing the government needs right now is a day off for people. But when things get back to normal, do we need a Talk Like Miles Davis Day?
No.
So you would vote no. You would
Also,
vote
he
thumbs
was
down.
abusive. Like, I don't think
Oh,
you
it
should
was horrible.
support somebody. It's like having, like, a Pearson Day, right? A statistician who was a eugenicist. Like, you don't want to support that. Like, you can't get.
Nobody's perfect.
People have issues with Columbus Day, right? Because of the history. Yeah. How are people not going to have issues with Miles Davis Day?
Well, women might have certain issues.
And humans will have issues.
Well, but humans should have issues then with. There's an Elvis stamp.
But there's no Elvis Day. It's not like marry a 14-year-old day.
Okay, well, there's Martin Luther King Day, and he was an adulterer.
Yeah, but he also was a peaceful leader for change.
True.
I mean,
Nobody's perfect.
I mean, there's difference between people who sleep with other people versus somebody who abuses people.
Yeah. But nobody went on board with my Hermann Göring Day. I thought it was a lovely idea because the man. Okay, he was a Nazi. He was bad, but had some good ideas as far as PR.
No.
Yeah, we can think about it. Son of Sam Day did not take off at all, even though it was really about connecting with your pet because his dog talked to him. Yeah, okay, he had some bad nights, but still. So I think Miles Davis Day could potentially work, don't you think? Yeah. George Washington was a slave owner. We have a day for him.
So was Jefferson.
Well, we don't have a Jefferson Day, but we have a George Washington's birthday without President's Day. They conflated it into that.
I like that because then it's just more generic.
Yeah. We have Passover. Passover is about God killing the firstborn of all these Egyptians. That's not nice.
No,
that was not a fun way to start a long weekend.
It's like for me as a child, I love storybooks, and then when I read the Grimm, the fairy tales, I never wanted to hear a fairy tale again. Because I thought they were lovely, very, very nice.
No,
but then when you read the graphic, like this dismemberment, I was like, oh no, thank you.
They call them Grimm's fairy tales for a reason.
Yeah.
That's true. So I don't know. Show of hands. How many? If we have a choice between Talk Like Miles Davis Day and Hermann Göring Day.
God. David, what is in your drink? Are you drinking like maybe some vodka?
Oh, I'm drinking this disgusting raspberry seltzer.
You don't like it either, huh?
Not in the morning. It's just like, yeah.
I know, it's like the drink.
I think if I got syrup in it or something, it's just kind of like.
Do you want me to get you some vanilla syrup?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I'll get you vanilla syrup.
Later. Hang with me while we do Greeley Crimes, and then we'll do it.
But you were on something.
When I do Inside Broadway, yeah. No, I'm on a jag about trying to push Talk Like Miles Davis Day. I think it's a very. It celebrates jazz, right? It celebrates uniqueness and artistry, and the guy who beats up women. I think it's all there. Anywho, What's there? Oh, Greeley Crimes. I can't believe we're almost an hour into the show, although we lost a few minutes early on.
Yeah. I wrote to people and said we had some trouble, when we switched rooms too, because, you got to get back in your groove.
I am back in the Daverhood groove. I'm back in the Daverhood groove. Anywho, our groove is Greeley. Greeley Crimes and Old Times, where I've told you this already 10 times. Let me just get into the music for it, which is courtesy of Tom Waits. He didn't actually write this for us. I just stole it momentarily. Greeley Crimes and Old Times we go. So we're mixing. Actually, it's not even going to be any old times because half of the staff of the Greeley Tribune is furloughed at the moment. So the guy
I thought they were all working for free. Wasn't that the?
Well, no, some of the people work for free. I guess Mike Peters probably gets some kind of.
Well, he has that book. That book was really good about a dark mystery. Like, I can't really, I looked through part of it, I think, online, but
What?
It's a little bit.
Mystery?
It was a mystery that they thought was solved one way, that they uncovered some facts, but it was very.
They found the body in a cornfield.
It was local, but very gruesome, but very well written. He's a great writer. And he was a lovely guest. He came down when we were at the student radio. He came to me. He was great.
Yeah, Mike. So we give a shout out to Mike Peters, but unfortunately, for the time being, the newspaper, which has just been bought out by a big old newspaper syndicate, has said, no. I mean, there's people we've taken off the rolls, and they're not writing for us at the moment. But when COVID's over, they're going to be hired back. Then we'll bring those columns back again. But we still have the cop blog column. These are phone calls that absolutely real, absolutely true public record that came in to the Greeley and Weld County Police Dispatch over the past few weeks. And the funniest, weirdest ones are compiled in this weekly column in the newspaper. And we take the funniest of the funniest, weirdest ones, and we do them right here on Dave's Gone By. Are you ready, babe? Are you ready?
I'm inviting people. Let me stop.
Sure.
Okay. I don't know what wait.
Oh, you okay?
Yeah, I have too many.
Joyce is kind of our tech guru.
Oh, God, let's not say that.
Okay, we won't say that. She's not our tech guru.
Got to get to the end.
Well, I will let you, I might as well remind you, it's 2 minutes to 10 Eastern Time. You're watching the 747th episode of Dave's Gone By with me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, and all the folks who are kind enough to be tuning in. Andrew from our neck of the woods here on Long Island. Welcome, Andrew.
Hey, Andrew, what's up, dude?
Here we go. Police! Police!
Oh, wait.
No, we need the siren.
No, I got the wrong one.
There we go.
I just want people to know that the symbol for the police, it's a light bulb. So
really?
Why would you have a light bulb for that sound? It's a light bulb. I have no idea.
I have no idea either.
A light bulb does not.
Well, no, a siren. It's a siren. It's probably the thing that you got behind a cop car.
No, it's a light bulb.
On Police Story.
It's a light bulb because the other one has it. Let me show you.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one has the light bulb.
Yeah.
Goes like that.
That's a light bulb. Yeah.
So maybe it's like that's. I don't know. Like the
maybe
light
the people
off?
who designed that noise machine weren't bright.
It's my favorite sound.
Is it really? Yeah.
That's my favorite sound, except the baby crying. Yeah.
Or as a light bulb would say what?
I didn't hear that.
Oh, I'm just illuminating all my jokes there. Right, here we go. Police responded to 8th Avenue for a homeless man out by the storefront. Now remember, this is 8th Avenue.
Okay.
Do you know what he did? Look at that. Oh. He built a wooden blockade to hide himself. I don't know what's up with that. This homeless man has been very busy. But I don't know, when Abe Lincoln does it, they call it a log cabin. When the homeless guy does it, it's just like craziness. But that's kind of neat that he just built a blockade on 8th Avenue in Greeley, Colorado. I think that's neat.
Me too.
Now, the weirdest part of this story from Coplog on Greeley Crimes of All Times, the weirdest part is that this wasn't from 100 years ago. This is actually from a week or two ago. Police responded to a report of a suspicious person on 17th Street. The caller said a man was wandering around in her...
Look, David, look. I'm giving you.
Police... A caller said a man was wandering around in her front and backyards, so she chased him out using what? What do you think this person... She found this crazy, maybe a homeless
like my Aunt
vagrant.
Helen, a rake. My Aunt Helen used to chase people with the rake and her high heel slippers.
So close.
Broom?
Still close.
Broom, rake, Swiffer.
No, too modern.
A hoe.
We call them whores, but no.
What?
A pitchfork.
I love it. Oh, man.
Can you imagine in 2020?
That's Amish. That's like Amish paradise.
I wonder, even now, she's a get, you know?
You get out of my yard, youngins. You youngins don't be, no hobos in my yard.
When was the last time you saw a pitchfork, come to think of it?
Unfortunately, on the garden show today.
Oh, well, yeah, that's true.
That garden competition, they were doing a lot of pitchforking and hoeing.
Yeah, we watched so much on Netflix that we're desperate to find new things to see. So, Joyce, we both picked out this show about they needed a new competition.
You found it, yeah.
Yeah, we've seen so many foods, and they nailed it, and the great chefs, and right, enough already, and go into a house and do you sell it or leave it or burn it or whatever. Now they've got a thing where people take flowers and grass and create giant sculpture monstrosities from flowers.
It's beautiful.
Right.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, no, I mean what they do is.
But they steal each other's stuff. I don't like that.
Oh, really?
So like one was making a squirrel with the disco ball nut, like a huge topiary.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, hey, look over there, and they took the mirror. Like, I don't like that.
Did
like,
they do it for real or was that a joke?
I don't know. I don't like that. Like, if you're competing in a competition, do fair fighting.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Do be fair.
But anywho, where are... Oh, yeah. Police responded. Oh, police responded.
Oh, hold on.
This is horrible in a wonderful way. That's the one thing you don't hear. A caller reported hearing the sound of a drill. Oh, wait.
I gotta find it now.
Sure.
Hold on.
You use your imaginations with this one, folks. This is kind of...
Oh, wait, wrong one.
No, wait. Okay. This woman, or a caller, sorry, reported hearing the sound of a drill, a hammer. I guess that hammer just... I'm not sure. What do you think the third thing is that this caller reported hearing?
A chipmunk dancing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah?
No. It was a drill, a hammer, and a woman screaming.
Oh, here we go. Hold on, I got that one. Wait, where's the lady?
I mean, that is something right out of a horror film. Oh, yeah! Wait, let's do I'll do that one.
You got that one? Is this one here?
That woman's straight. So,
okay, wait, hold on.
Let's try
wait, hold on 1 second. Wait,
you gotta do the drill.
I have to take off my glasses.
Yeah. You know the drill.
Wait, dummy. Okay, and what's the other one?
I'll do the hammer.
What's the first one?
The drill. So a woman reported hearing a drill, a hammer, and a woman screaming.
Now that's a heck of a party.
That's a good time right there.
That's an eighth and eighth. That's an eighth and eighth party.
Oh my God! People are trying to find things to do during COVID. I'll tell you that. I keep looking for old times, and there aren't. Well, I'll do one old time. I've been saving this one. It's not all that good for a couple of weeks, but this is from 100 years ago in the Greeley newspaper. I don't know if this is an editorial or what. It's just something that was in the paper.
Okay.
About the only advantage a bald-headed man has is that he knows when he brushes his hair in the morning, it will stay that way all day. Oh, those newspapers were so quaint back then. Although it is kind of true. Anywho, moving on to more modern stuff. Now this is so American. A woman on 30th Avenue called to ask. She wanted to get the paperwork to pass. What do you think?
Driver's license?
No, great answer. No, she wanted to take 3 guns for which she did not have the receipts, and she wanted to bequeath them to her children when she dies. Is there anything more American than that? Than saying, what do I do with my guns?
If you don't have unregistered guns, you have to, in New York, you have to turn them in to the police when someone dies.
So that's the
unregistered guns have to be turned in. You can't bequeath, unless it's an antique, I think. But I think you can't have guns.
That's the thing. If they're not yours.
Be registered firearm.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a legitimate thing. It's not that funny, but just this idea of like, you know, when she's ready to go, it isn't going to be about her jewelry. It isn't going to be about how I pass on my legacy, my photo albums, my furniture. No, it's like, I've got guns. What do I do with them? You know?
I know. That's how it is, baby. Everyone has different priorities. Remember years ago, one of my friends said, your definition of success is not others. Everyone has different definitions. So your definition of legacy might be different than somebody who wants to pass on a Luger.
That's true.
I mean, it's different, right?
I got guns. You got guns. All of God's children got guns. Yeah. This is also so very, very American.
Okay.
A caller at a Greeley park reported someone took his picture and threatened to kill him if he ever saw him again.
Wow.
The man was confronting him about what?
Feeding the ducks.
No.
Showing his jingle hammer.
No.
Jingle hopper?
No.
Dog pooping?
Showing something.
Dog pooping.
No.
Dog peeing.
These will all be funnier, but
Cat peeing.
No.
Showing his beer belly.
No, I thought you were going to say showing his beard, but no.
Showing his wife's beer belly?
No.
Showing his wife.
Showing something.
His butt crack.
No.
Toes? Gnarly toes? Mouth? Oh, unmasked. Woo!
The guy took his picture and threatened to kill him if he saw him again because the other guy wasn't wearing a mask. Yeah. Nanny state, anybody? Good. I mean, okay. You want to shame people. You want to call them out for being stupid. Although, just in time for Memorial Day, you did hear that Cuomo lifted the thing about gatherings of less than 10 people.
Oh, boy.
Now, if you do it safely, it's okay to do.
They were making, because someone was telling me, like, your social circle, and they had a name for it. There's a name for the group you do. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
Alcoholics Anonymous?
No, I'm very, you know my nature. Because my mother's a nurse, because I worked in healthcare, all blah, 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 I'm very cautious, and I'm very, I'm not somebody who takes, all my risks are calculated. I don't take like a extra risk. I'm very cautious. So I don't know. I think I understand, like, people are going stir crazy. I understand that, but we also have to be mindful.
I know. I think you're right.
Yeah.
But
it's a tough one.
Yeah. And he says, look, you got to wear a mask, I say 6 feet away, but you can have a Memorial Day barbecue in the park, which, people are doing it anyway.
Yeah, but you know what's going to happen? You unleash people who've been in their homes. They're all funky looking because they have no haircuts. we look like land of the lost, right? Everyone's coming out, and then you're going to have people fighting for space on like parks and beaches. And people are hangry. It's going to be yucky.
Yeah, there's going to be some, although it's not going to be 90 degrees, so that
Thank
will
God.
be. Yeah.
At least the heat will simmer people. Cool,
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'm not sure how. I think it's reasonable. I do think at this stage of COVID, I'm getting some shocked faces from my wife. I forgot to mention this one. Police responded.
Oh, wait a second.
You want to talk about interesting behavior? Police responded to Wedgwood Court.
Ooh, la la.
For a woman on drugs, running around naked and yelling fire
Nice.
Yeah. Naked woman running around yelling fire. I just have to say, at least she wasn't yelling fire in the hole, if you know what I'm saying. And I think you don't. Hey, thank you. Now, one of the things we do is... Thank you.
System breakdown, Will Robinson.
Now, shame on me for not hearing about this earlier. Somehow, with all the websites I check and the newspapers and the things that I look for of weird things in the world, I'll turn the computer around and show the world what you're doing.
I'm doing it.
Joyce is doing some kind of yoga pose where I see her butt quite clearly. So I'm going to stop the show. I'm just going to do some of that. What? What are you doing? Yeah. She's lowering her legs down and then up. Stretching.
Like over my head. See?
She's lowering her feet over her head, which that's tempting.
Ooh,
But anywho.
I had a stretch. Look at my face; is so pink now. Ooh.
Woohoo.
Let me go. Want me to get you the
At the end of Greeley.
vanilla,
Yeah, no, do it during Inside Broadway.
Okay.
Because I generally do that on my own.
Okay, tell me.
But I want to do this. This is during Greeley Crimes and Old Times. One of the things that we do is we also go elsewhere. So almost all the stories are from the Greeley Tribune, but we also like poking around to other places to get one piece of weird, ridiculous news.
That's true.
Now,
Call it elsewhere.
Really, or just the elsewhere section of Greeley Crimes of All Times. This was something I didn't realize until after I read the story, that Colbert and John Oliver were way ahead of me on this. How did I miss this? Did you know that the Philadelphia Flyers have a mascot?
Is it the Philly Fluff?
That's the Philly Fanatic is baseball. We love the Philly Fanatic.
Yeah.
Do me a favor, because I have the JPEG on this machine, and I don't want to suddenly throw it.
Okay, you want me to
look for Gritty. Philadelphia Gritty, and then maybe we can show that, or I probably do it on the telephone easier.
Oh, is that what you want? Tell me
Yeah,
what you want.
probably
Okay.
the phone is easier.
Give me a second.
Where's my phone?
I'll get my phone. Give me a second, baby. Hold on. Just, mug for time, oops.
I'm mugging for time, ladies and gentlemen. It's one thing that Fania Fenelon didn't do. Well, while I'm doing that,
The Philadelphia mascot.
I want to remind you that we couldn't do this program.
Oh,
Here,
no.
I'll do that later.
No.
Yes.
No.
Let's just show a picture of Gritty.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we have to. Because I didn't realize this that back in January,
You
Colbert.
pick them. Which one do you like?
Oh, pick any.
Pick any?
This, and I don't want to show it yet. I want to show it at the exact right moment. But get please the photo ready.
Wait, I have to hold on.
So I'll tell you about Gritty, the mascot of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Wait, hold on. I got a problem.
Police in Philadelphia are investigating an alleged incident involving Gritty the mascot and a teenage boy. The popular Philadelphia Flyers mascot is accused of physically assaulting the child during a photo shoot. Now, let me show you Gritty.
He's horrific. Who would make that as a mascot?
There he is. Well, come on, you know the Philly Fanatic. But this is, as I think John Oliver said, this is the Philly Fanatic gone psychotic. And perhaps borderline sociopathic. He was accused of assaulting a 13-year-old child. At least it wasn't sexually assaulting. This is Gritty from the Philadelphia Flyers team, who was accused, apparently,
Look, he even signed his photo.
of assaulting a boy. He's very popular, apparently, during a photo shoot. It happened back in November at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. Chris Greenwell said on Facebook that Gritty punched and injured his son. Oh, wait, we lost it. Sorry. Where'd it go?
Oh, give it to me.
Yeah, give me another picture, because it's just that good.
What happened, honey? You got rid of it.
I swiped when
Gritty
I
the
should have wiped.
mascot photo.
Showing pictures that match.
We're showing pictures
You want
that
a
match.
video?
Oh, can you do a video of Gritty doing his bounce or something like that? Oh yeah. It's quite a beautiful thing if you imagine that assaulting a child. I've imagined assaulting many children, but this is beyond. Oh yeah, show it. You gotta show it. Anyway, while we're waiting for that, I want to remind you that Yeah, Hewlett Minuteman Press, the copy kings of Broadway. Since the mid-1970s, the Toron family has owned and operated Minuteman Press franchise. I've just got a Twitter thing going through. Have owned and operated Hewlett Minuteman. It's the franchise of Minuteman Press that is in Hewlett, Long Island. And the Toron family is great. They are, well, the mom is still there, plus her 2 children run the shop, and they do printing and copy and binding and everything you need to help your business grow. So if you tell them Dave sent you, you get 10% off any job at Hewlett Minuteman Press. Give them a call, 516-569-5577, area code 516-569-5577. Hewlett Minuteman, they are the copy kings. And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is from ABC News. I'm just going to scroll that up. I think I have to hit, do I have to hit play on it or something? I didn't do anything. It's the phone that's not doing anything.
It's probably because you're on Wi-Fi.
Oh, maybe. Don't worry about it.
I'll get it.
Just get a picture again so I can show Gritty, the Philly mascot, the Philadelphia Flyers mascot.
I just made him big. Don't just touch the sides of the phone because I adjusted it.
Oh,
Yes. Good.
Yeah. Okay, so keep this in mind again. When we think about this mascot assaulting a 13-year-old kid and punching him, the father... Yeah. The father said that he failed to get the Flyers to apologize for this. Flyers should apologize for this anyway and pay for the kid's medical bills. Said the dad, quote, "This could have been handled so simply, but they tried to bribe me not to speak about it. Wells Fargo Center won't let me see that there was video taken of the incident, but they did apparently try to bribe the father with free all-I-can-drink passes at the bar."
Oh, come on, really?
So we got the police involved in this. The Flyers said in a statement that they did an internal investigation, found nothing to support the claims, and Stephen Colbert did mention, when he covered this, that Gritty was cleared of all charges.
But it's not Gritty. It's somebody inside. There's a human inside of Gritty doing it.
No.
It's like Bad
No.
It's like Bad Elmo.
It's real.
It's like Bad Elmo.
Maybe.
Yes.
Don't tell me the Philly isn't real. It's a real person
I
thing.
lived in Philly. If something like that got on SEPTA, you'd get his butt kicked. Let me tell you something. No thing gets on SEPTA or goes around the regional rail lines in Philly dressed as no.
I'll tell you though, if he was in New York in 42nd Street with all those stupid Elmos and I would take a picture with that. I would completely do a photo shoot.
He has a mean temper though.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is a great line
Cynthia
from
joined.
welcome.
Sif joined.
Colbert did say
David
that.
Cynthia joined.
Oh, well, yeah. Welcome to Cynthia and Jeff, and stay with us because we're going to have our quiz in a little bit. But to put a cap on this particular item, it was either Colbert or John Oliver mentioned that, quote, "This is the first Philadelphia sports fan to be acquitted of assault." Kudos, great line there.
Serious, yeah.
So let's finish up our Greeley Crimes and Old Time segment for this Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. Let's do one more. A caller at an apartment on 30th Street reported that someone was playing music so loud it was causing everything to vibrate. Now, the caller, she didn't want it stopped. She just wanted it closer to the banana seat on her exercise bike. Thank you. Thank you ever so much. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been watching Dave's Gone By, at least so far, of the segment Greeley Crimes and Old Times, much more to come.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you'll agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Yippee indeed, ladies and gentlemen. We are here with the 747th episode of Dave's Gone By. With me, Dave Lefkowitz, my wonderful, adorable wife, Joyce. Dave's Gone By. And of course,
I like
Air
that
to
you're dressed alike.
Potato,
You both have mustaches and you both have purple.
Oh, I was wondering. Yeah,
And
yeah, I
mustaches,
need
too.
the hat, but yeah. You're
We have
very
the hat-
observant.
We have the hat downstairs in one of our 75 boxes filled with potatoes.
That's true. We could completely look alike. I don't know if I can ever do that whole curly
Handlebar,
mustache
yeah.
thing. Yeah, I've tried it with my pubes.
You got to get a
And it hurts.
manscaping kit, you know.
I do. We've been waiting for weeks now. We want to groom our dog and cut his nails, and just trying to get the supplies to do it. And so we look and we're trying to figure out what size nail clipper.
No, this is a Zen one. It's a very good clipper, but it's hard to figure out without seeing it in person. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get one and we think, oh, he's a small dog. We need a small clip. No, won't fit. Well, oh, he's a dog. He's sort of a tweenie. He's in between small and medium. It's like maybe the medium. No. Now we're looking for a large one. We're probably going to need hedge trimmers by the time we actually get to clip our dog's nails. He usually makes a cameo appearance on Dave's Gone By. He's still sleeping. So I guess we'll get him on the show later. By the way, welcome to Jolinda and to Chris. Welcome to Chris and all the folks, and Cynthia, of course. Cynthia and Jeff are cousins. Hope that you're all doing well and settling into your new house and enjoying it. Look gorgeous, by the way, at least from the outside. So I, among other things, besides being a humorist of sorts, I'm a theater guy. I write plays, I act, I direct. I've been a theater critic and journalist for many years.
I'll put it in a glass. I'll get a glass.
Okay, thank you ever so much. For lots and lots of years. I mean, for 30 plus years. Oh, we just got a message from cousin Cynthia and Jeff saying that we have great nail clippers. The depth is adjustable. I feel like I'm Big Dave on QVC right now. Saying, oh, they got a great nail clipper. So that's what we kind of wanted or have been looking for, because literally we haven't trimmed our dog's nails in months. So not only are they long, they're starting to curl around and to go into his foot pads, which cannot be particularly comfortable. And we can't bring him to the vet because the vet is on and has been on emergency, things only, emergency stuff, items or events or problems only. So we're just thinking, how are we going to clip? And I know, because we let the dog's nails grow so long, we bought 2 bottles of styptic pencil, because I'm just saying he's got dark nails, and no way to tell how far the quick has grown into them. So I know I'll do one little snap, and blood is just going to shoot all over. So glad to share this with you. Nothing funny about it, but that's what we're completely worried about. Anywho, how did I get on this? By the way, it's the second time, I must be in a particular mood. Second time I've been talking about blood shooting from things. First it was someone committing suicide on camera, which I do invite you all to do, and clipping dogs' nails, and usually these things go in threes to make them funny. So at some point between now and the end of the show, something else is going to bring up blood shooting out of orifices and going everywhere. I'm just saying. But it's not going to be part of this segment, I don't think. You never know. This segment is called Inside Broadway because I do love talking about the theater and sharing that with you. Inside Broadway, a look at theater on and off Broadway and beyond. Brought to you by Total Theater and Performing Arts Insider. Curtain going up. So this is going to be a surprisingly happy edition of the Inside Broadway segment, which is a lot of the Inside Broadways over the past couple of weeks obviously have been about, is Broadway starting up again? Is it going to be in April or June? No, bad news. Or Broadway people either dying of old age or dying of COVID. That's been a lot of this segment. But this week it's mostly good news, mostly good, positive things in our Inside Broadway segment. Yes, we want to say farewell to controversial German playwright, is it Rolf Hochhuth, who passed away a couple of days ago, and he wrote started criticizing the Pope and his response to World War II and the Holocaust while it was going on, and okay, farewell. But not going to dwell on that, not an American playwright. We're going straight to American stuff. Well, COVID, we knew, and this is not news, that Broadway shows are on hiatus until September 7th of 2020. This doesn't mean that shows are going to start up again on September 8th. They're not. All it means is if you have previously bought tickets to Broadway productions, and off-Broadway as well, really, between that were supposed to be happening, let's say you didn't have tickets for a show in April or May, but you had them in like July. You can still, they're not going to be up in July. You can get your money back or exchange them for much later in the year or next year. They're doing that, but they're not doing that past September 7th at this point. So that's all that date means. It doesn't mean that everything's suddenly going to jump up again right after Labor Day. However, again, it's now in the stage of how are we getting back to things? How are we going to slowly ramp back up to normal, even if that doesn't happen until after the new year? One of the scuttlebutts that Chris Jones, a critic that I know, has written about for the Chicago Tribune is he's thinking, the thinking is that they're really going to start using Chicago now as a trial testing ground for shows before they come to Broadway. So that Chicago's a big city. It's a great theater city with a great theater audience. This would be the place to test out, not only just try out shows on the road, as producers used to do when it was cheaper to mount shows, but also figure out how do you keep it safe? How do you distance people in a theater not of 50 seats, but of 1,400 seats or 1,200 seats? Does everybody wear masks? Do you take people's temperatures going in? One hopes they do it this way. There's other ways to take temperature. Is there hand sanitizer everywhere? Do the ushers wear masks and gloves and gowns? I mean, what do you do? And what do you do in terms of air circulation? There was literally, I read somewhere, there's the thought of having, before shows start, drones inside the theater. Yeah, maybe this should be for outdoor theaters, but maybe indoors as well, where the drone would spray mist, not deodorizer, but what's the word? Disinfectant over everything, which would be a lot more even and a lot more balanced and less time consuming than having like 10 ushers run around scrubbing down seats and using soap and disinfectant that way and cleaning carpets and everything. What if there were just these flying drones inside the theater spraying things down and making them safe that way? It's a weird idea, but they're considering all of these things. And one of the things that they're considering is doing this first in Chicago. Thank you very much there. First in Chicago, and then if it works, rolling that out to New York and seeing how that goes. So that's one idea of when things start to go back. Now, here's the cool thing. Producers are starting to think in terms of shows opening. Maybe at the end of the year, but certainly in late winter and early spring of 2021. They really think things will come back. Even if we have that curve, maybe they're not thinking in terms of Thanksgiving or December if we're supposed to get another spike in COVID. Maybe they're thinking, but it's still the idea of Broadway not dead, regional theater not dead. Here's some proof of that. There is going to be a new musical version of the classic Billy Wilder comedy, Some Like It Hot. Now, there already was one. There was one in the 60s or 70s called Sugar. Thank you very much.
It's like an Italian soda, baby. It's a raspberry vanilla. Isn't that good?
That works.
I over vanilla'd it, but
it doesn't matter. You can't over vanilla.
It's like you want ice. It's an Italian soda.
Ooh.
Made by a Tyrolean.
It's lovely. Ooh. Let me try.
Oh no.
It's not French today. It's Italian. Oh, we're being cookie bombed. Oh no. This is we talked about this last week.
Can I have your Dave cup?
Yeah, please.
You want more? There's more.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So Some Like It Hot. We all know the story. It was a Jimmy Curtis, Jack Lemmon. What dropped?
I dropped an empty bomb on my foot.
Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, Marilyn Monroe, and they're hiding out from Chicago. Speaking of Chicago gangs, and they witness a kind of St. Valentine's Day massacre. They know they're witnesses. They know the mob is going to be after them, so they jump on the first bus that they can as musicians, and they end up disguising themselves as women to tour with an all-girl band. So they got to be where the girls, be like the girls, except of course Tony Curtis, for some crazy reason, falls in love with one of the singers there, Marilyn Monroe. And then it's a fun movie. And it's one of my dad's favorite movies. It's real good. It's So Like It Hot. They tried making it into a musical years ago called Sugar. I don't know. I never saw it. I've never heard the cast album. I don't know if it's good or bad. But they're going to make a whole different new musical out of it by the crew that gave us Hairspray. So there's some real talent behind it. Matthew Lopez, Mark Shaman, Scott Whitman. They were going to try it out in Chicago, which would be an appropriate place, in August of 2021. Not this year, but next year. But they've announced it for fall 2021 on Broadway without a previous tryout, at least at this point. So yeah, I know. It's a year away. We're not talking about this autumn. We're talking about fall 2021. And yet, it's nice to know that there's producers planning a brand new musical. So something to get excited about. Now, if you're like me and get press releases from all these different theater companies and all these press agents, you know that actors just can't sit on their hands, and playwrights and direct, they're going stir crazy like we all are, and wanting to be busy and trying to figure out the next step of how do they do stuff when you're not allowed to get in a room with 100 or 500 audience members. What do you do? And the answer is to keep creating and figure out a new form. And over the past few weeks, we've really seen the idea of Zoom theater growing like crazy. This idea that you can do a play and you have 4 characters, let's say, and they're in these 4 little windows, and you watch them just sitting there in front of the same background, not even changing costume, barely using props, essentially doing a glorified reading, and yet it works. I watched them do it with the Joshua Harmon play Significant Other a couple of weeks ago. I watched this week that Sally Field and Bryan Cranston doing the A.R. Gurney play Love Letters, which really lends itself to that kind of theater because it's an epistolary play. It's letters that the 2 characters write back and forth to each other throughout the course of the play. They never actually physically interact in the first place. So it does lend itself to their being separate on separate screens. But it worked. It was lovely. And so there's this now new idea, and people are starting to write new plays specifically for this format rather than adapting older plays to do them as Zoom plays. Well, here's the cool thing. There's going to be a mix of both, courtesy of the Irish Repertory Theater, one of my beloved off-Broadway theater companies in New York, the Irish Rep. They're not taking the summer off. They're doing an entire online summer lineup, including a brand new play about COVID called The Gifts You Gave to the Dark. Plus, they're going to do Zoom-conceived stagings of plays that have been done at Irish Rep over the years. For example, Conor McPherson's The Weir, a show called Yes, Reflections of Molly Bloom. I believe that is a solo show. And what's kind of neat is that has music by our friend of the Daverhood, Patty Maloney of the Chieftains, and Love Noel, Songs and Letters of Noel Coward by Katie Sullivan and our cabaret friend of the Daverhood, Steve Ross. So those are all going to be specially conceived to watch on Irish Repertory Theater's website. I don't know if they're free. Certainly they'll be asking for donations. They might ask you to pay for and buy tickets to these events online. But many of the shows are free and will be available not just for a one-time screening, but for a week or 2 or 3. After the live event, you can watch it, although it won't be up there perpetually. I mean, you'll have just a window to see these things. But that's kind of cool. Irish Rep, taking the bull by the horns, as it were, and saying, okay, not only are we going to do these little benefit things or these little online parties or a Zoom reading for a one-night benefit, we're doing an entire summer season on Zoom, and we're going to see how that goes. I think that's really, really neat. They're also going to have a screening of their 1998 show that was filmed or video filmed called The Irish and How They Got That Way, which was a cute little show all about Irish music and Irish culture and Irish life. It was a real hit. It was a big moneymaker for the Irish Repertory Theatre back in the day. It allowed them actually to rebuild and renovate their space and build another theater in their building. So it was a big, big thing for them, the Irish and How They Got That Way. Plus, they created a mini documentary, apparently, called The Irish Rep and How We Got That Way. So kind of neat. Check it all out at irishrep.org. And speaking of things that you should check out, don't forget to check out this long-running, magnificent journal, Performing Arts Insider, the Bible of Broadway since 1944. This is the place that people in the entertainment industry turn to find out about all the shows on, off, and off Broadway. Well, obviously there's nothing happening right this second, but for people who are planning for the end of the year, who are planning for 2021, whether it's spring or the fall of next year, they want to know, well, what shows were playing when theater left off in March? What shows were about to open? What shows were going to be opening this summer and spring and fall? Plus what shows are planned for the months and years ahead, not just on Broadway, but off and off Broadway as well. You don't find that information anywhere, really, except the pages of Performing Arts Insider. It is a hard copy magazine, although the past 2 or 3 issues, we have been doing them as emailed PDFs, just because it's been rather tough to send out hard copies and do that during COVID. But yeah, it is an actual physical magazine. In this day and age when we're kind of getting back to old things, like picking up a book and reading it, right? Or playing board games with families instead of being online the whole time. Nice to pick up something and thumb through the pages and see page after page of a guide to the Broadway season, a guide to the press agents, or I'm sorry, there's that too, but a guide to all the theaters on Broadway and information about them, a guide to press agents who are handling the shows, a guide day by day to when shows will be reopening. And again, Broadway as well as off and off Broadway. You don't get this information anywhere else, especially the comprehensive listings of every single show. Now, and one of the things that we have added for our upcoming June issue, it's a monthly publication that just went to press yesterday, is a list of all the shows, or as many as we can compile, that are online that you can watch for free. There are lots and lots of plays and musicals on YouTube and Vimeo and other places that have been there. You don't have to pay a dime to see them. Hundreds of hours of incredible entertainment, from shows that were videotaped on PBS back in the 70s to more recent things. How do you go and find those except Google? No, get a copy of our June issue of Performing Arts Insider, and you'll have that list right in front of you, including all the hyperlinks that you need. How do you find this? Go to performingartsinsider.com. Performingartsinsider.com. That's where the subscription information is, and we'll be happy to get you on the rolls as a new subscriber to Performing Arts Insider forever, the Bible of Broadway. Well, moving on to more Broadway news and more happy Broadway news. We mentioned Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman in connection with Hairspray, and in connection of their new version of Some Like It Hot that they're playing for Broadway in the months ahead. Well, there's another show that they're involved with, and another show that they're going to develop into a Broadway musical. It was the Smash TV show, Smash. It's and they've got a major crop of people involved in this. Also, along for the ride, Bob Martin, who co-created The Drowsy Chaperone, and Rick Elise, who co-created Jersey Boys. All of these folks are working on an adaptation of the TV show Smash into a Broadway show. And it's kind of neat. The producers include Robert Greenblatt, Neil Marion, and Steven Spielberg, because he was one of the producers of Smash, the TV show. Let's see. It's going to be a while before we see it. They've just put the team together, so it may well be 2 or 3 years before, maybe 2 or 3 years before we see anything on Broadway, but certainly 2 or 3 years before we see Smash, the musical. But they're working on it. It may happen, and it was just announced this week, so things are moving forward. And finally, let's do some award news announced by the Off-Broadway Alliance, and that is folks who are producers, theater owners, press agents, general managers of off-Broadway theaters. They've gotten together, and they every year do an award, or various awards for excellence off-Broadway. So they've announced for the shortened season that we've had in 2019 and 20, these are the Off-Broadway Alliance Award winners. A Strange Loop won for Best Musical. The Unsinkable Molly Brown with our friend of the Daverhood, Beth Malone, that won for Best Musical Revival. Life Sucks, an adaptation of Uncle Vanya that was done off-Broadway, that won for Best Play, New Play. And then Play Revival went to a version of The Woman in Black that was done at the McKittrick Hotel off-Broadway. Unique Theatrical Experience went to Dana H. Solo Show went to a piece called The Day I Became Black. And Family Show went to She Persisted, the musical. So if there's a word here, it is persisted. It is persistence. It is that Broadway is not going away. Whether it is being morphed into online or hybridized versions of shows over the next few months and years, or whether we're going to get back into those theaters, the big ones and small ones, in the months ahead. Broadway goes on, and ain't Broadway grand?
It's the famous gay white way, where the night is bright as day. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's not just a thoroughfare, it's a tingle in the air. Ain't Broadway grand?
It's excitement, it's romance, it's all fun and song and dance. This wonderland, you can be a millionaire quicker here than anywhere. Ain't Broadway grand?
It is indeed, ladies and gentlemen. It is grand to talk about Broadway on Dave's Gone By. It's grand to do all the stuff that we do here every week in the Daverhood. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. It's about almost 11:15 Eastern Time here in the Daverhood. We got so much more to do. We've got our Wretched Pun of Destiny coming up, all about Sir David Attenborough. Yes, don't ask. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we will be going to Gould, Colorado, and making a horrible little poem about that. And we shall have the return of Dave's Big Dictionary, where my wife Joyce will thumb through a dictionary, pick out a word completely at random, and I will be forced to come up with something to talk about for about 5 minutes or so. Much more fun on this 747th episode of Dave's Gone By. We're calling it 747 Ready for Takeoff on this Memorial Day, Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. Well, Cynthia, Jeff, are you with us? Are you watching? Are you ready to play the game? Because we do a game. Oh, I gotta get our music up for that.
Oh, I'm in the middle of Zoom. You can do it yourself, or you want to do it?
Well, where you at? No, I'm good. We'll do the, yeah. I just need, I didn't have a xylophone. I'll have to think of something else for that. But yeah, our trivia quiz, we call it our Today, Yesterday quiz. And the idea is there have been a lot of May 23rds before this one. What happened on those days in history? Well, I'm getting some pushback from Cynthia and Jeff. They're like, well, how hard are the questions? Ooh. Some of them are hard, some of them are easy, and some of them are in the middle. That's the idea. So we make some of them intentionally difficult and some of them kind of like, oh, well, pretty obvious trivia. That's the kind of mix that we like to do here on Dave's Gone By when we do what we call our Today, Yesterday quiz, this one being for May 23rd. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we know there's an answer. So no fair Googling, no fair binging or wikiing. It's time to take part in our Today, Yesterday quiz. And here's the deal. You're generally playing against my cousins, Cynthia and Jeff. So you're welcome to type in the answers in our comments thing. I see most of them. I don't necessarily see all of them. But usually Cynthia and Jeff are the first people to jump in there and type in the answer if they know it. But, so it's kind of, you're racing not so much against the clock, but against the Civ, the Cynthia and Jeff. If you are all ready, let us begin. We go all the way back to 1576. On this date, May 23rd, 1576, the Danish astronomer, this Danish astronomer was given an island on which to build his Uraniborg observatory. Although not all of his theories were correct, this scientist's Earth-centered approach and methodical calculations helped push science forward into understanding stars, orbits, and the universe. Can you name him? I know, I opened with a toughie, but how many Danish scientists do you know? Especially from that era, from the 16th century. 1576, the year, May 23rd, the date. On this date, the government gave him essentially an island to pop an observatory on so he could look at the stars and make calculations, which were generally incredibly accurate for the time. Who are we talking about? Dum 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 la da blah 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 la da 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 boom boom. Okay, think back to your I guess it would be 6th or 7th grade science classes. A name you probably haven't thought of or said for 50 or 60 years, but you probably would have heard it. Who would be this Danish astronomer? Okay. Oh, we have a non-answer from Cynthia and Jeff, which means we have to hold up the sad cookie and say that. Bum, 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 bum. The answer is, oh, this would be rolling off the tip of your tongue, Tycho Brahe. Of course you remember Tycho, not Copernicus, but Tycho Brahe, who was a mentor of and friend of Johannes Kepler. I thought maybe people would say Kepler. Same thing, Jeff is saying that Victor Borge is the only Dane he's ever heard of. And, you know, Borg used to live in kind of a hamlet. Okay. Well, it's more of a melancholy Dane. Okay, moving on to question number, they're easier, most of them are easier than that one. Next question, we move all the way up to 1785. Today, yesterday, this American politician, writer, and inventor announced his last creation, something that, quote, makes my eyes as useful to me as they ever were. Name him and his invention. I keep forgetting to hold this up. Here we go. So, the year 1785, that's kind of a clue. This American politician and writer and inventor announced his latest creation, something that he said, and this is a quote, makes my eyes as useful to me as they ever were. Who was he and what did he invent? And I've got a partial answer. Whoa, wow. Cynthia and Jeff stepping right up to the plate, swinging for the fences and hitting, well, 2 home, it's more than a double, it's 2 home runs. That's exactly right. It was Ben Franklin who invented bifocals, which allow his eyes to be adherent. Okay, moving forward to our next question in our Today, Yesterday quiz. Speaking of batter up, it is batter up at Recreation Park in Philadelphia. No, that horrible mascot wasn't there. This is 1883. And on this date, where the Snorkies beat the Hoppers 33-17. What was so special about this special exhibition game? This is a strange one, I admit. See, we throw all kinds of questions in this one. So it's a baseball question. 1883, batter up. Recreation Park in Philadelphia. In this particular exhibition-y game, the Snorkies beat the Hoppers 33-17. Why was this an unusual baseball game? This is tough. There's kind of a clue in one of the names of the teams. I will definitely say that. I wouldn't know this one. I just kind of wanted to share this story. So think about it. The Snorkies beat the Hoppers. And I've got a whole head full of Hoppers. Very good answer. We got an answer from Cynthia and Jeff that it was nightlights, that they managed back in 1883 to have an outdoor game with lighting and so forth. That is not correct. I don't know when they had the first unofficial night games or anything like that. They didn't win snorkel masks. That's a great answer. No, also not true. It's kind of tasteless, but it's absolutely true. In 18, they used to do a lot of exhibition games of this kind of thing. The Snorkies teams, all the teammates, were one-armed. And the Hoppers, honest to God, they were all one-legged or on crutches. Kind of the sad part of all this was that, as funny as it all is to imagine and picture this kind of exhibition game of one-armed people versus one-legged people, nearly all except one of the players had lost their limbs working for the railroad and laying down the Transcontinental Railroad. So it doesn't have that, has that as well for it. And by the way, Snorky, I wouldn't have realized this either. Snorky was named for a character in the Augustan daily drama Under the Gaslight, and the character was disabled in some ways. So there you go. All right, I promise they get easier, they get harder. Yeah, right, true story. And if you go searching Google, they were doing all sorts of straight, like midgets versus tall people. They were having all these wonderful kinds of sports events, although nothing quite so much involving the mascot Gritty, thank goodness. Okay, moving forward with our yesterday quiz on this May 23rd, 1911 is the year. William Howard Taft visits New York today to dedicate a building on Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street. These days, that building is not named after President Taft, but after Stephen A. Schwartzman. What is this edifice? And it's not a wreck. It's not one of these edifice wrecks. Here's your question. On this day, it was the inauguration date for a building in New York on Fifth Avenue and 42nd Street. Taft was there to bring it into being, as it were, although nowadays it's named after Stephen A. Schwartzman. What is it? Instead of here, we're gonna have the potato circle around the stars as Tycho Brahe watches him. Ooh! Okay, it's a little generic, Cynthia and Jeff, but I think you know what you're talking about. I'm going to give it to you. It was the main 42nd Street branch of the New York Public Library, along with the giant lions in front of it and the great, fantastic white steps. Stephen Schwartzman, just so you know, in 2013, he pledged and gave $100 million to renovate the building and also give a bunch of money to do other things and expand the New York Public Library. So they named that particular building after him. So anyway, yeah, well done. I think Cynthia and Jeff are 2 for 2. Not too shabby, considering some of these questions in our yesterday quiz. And by the way, welcome to Kristen. Thanks for joining us in the Daverhood. In 1934, on this date, May 23rd, 1934 is the year, he was 25. She was 24. And they were both gunned down by police after an ambush in Louisiana. What were the full names of this criminal couple? You think I was just going to give it to you? Well, that easy. I need the full names, please, of this couple who were in their mid-20s, both gunned down by cops after an ambush when they were in Louisiana. Who are we talking about? And please, full names. Full names. Almost there, almost there, almost there. Come on, Cynthia and Jeff. You're 3/4 of the way there. Can you get that last bit? Think of the song by, who was the French, like, pervy singer guy?
Jacques Brel.
No, the other French pervy singer guy, the Jewish one. Gainsbourg. Serge Gainsbourg. Think of Bonnie and Clyde, Clyde Barrow, and Bonnie Parker. Those are the full names. Parker and Barrow, Bonnie and Clyde. Well done indeed in our Today Yesterday quiz. Moving on to May 23rd, 1963. The Cannes Film Festival awards its Palme d'Or to this Italian director of this movie, The Leopard. Later on, he would also direct the films The Damned and Death in Venice, because, he was just a barrel of laughs. Can you name this director? Okay. I should have some Italian music. What would be that? La 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 da 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 da. I don't know if that's Italian organ grinder monkey music or actual Italian music. What's an Italian Neapolitan song? Torna a Sorrento, or something like that. I'll read this question again. In 1963, the Cannes Film Festival gave its highest prize, its Palme d'Or, to this Italian film director for his movie, The Leopard. After that, he also went on to direct the celebrated films Death in Venice, based on the Thomas Mann book, and The Damned. Who was he? Okay, we have an answer. Is that both from you, Cynthia and Jeff, or just one of you? That's a good guess, for sure. I'll give it another moment or two if you want to take another second guess, since there's two of you, or if anybody wants to type in and take a shot at the director of The Leopard, The Damned, and Death in Venice. No? Okay, I'll give it one more. I don't know why I'm making him German now. He's Belgian. Sure, we will give it one more moment. Yeah, Fellini, it is wrong. And it is not a French director, which are my favorite. It's not Truffaut. No. Is it not Godard, that Saint-Vallic anti-Semite? No. What Italian director are we talking about? Well, the answer is Luchino Visconti. Luchino Visconti, one of those important directors of that circle, of Fellini, of Vittorio De Sica, but the one we were looking for is Visconti, who directed The Leopard and won the Palme d'Or on this date from the Cannes Film Festival in France. All right, okay, I think you're doing pretty well on these. Here's the next question in our quiz. 1969 is the year, May 23rd. A hugely important day in the history of comedy, because the BBC ordered the first 13 episodes of a new comedy series called Monty Python's Flying Circus. 4 of the 6 legendary Pythons are still alive, but 2 of them have died. Can you name the dead Pythons? Well, I should be singing the Liberty Bell March. So there were 6 members of Monty Python. 4 of them are still alive and reasonably well. 2 of them are not. Which of them have joined the choir invisible, pushing up the daisies, as it were? Oh, da-dum-ba-dum-ba-da-da-da-da. Oh, I tried to get the foot down. There we go. Da-dum-ba-dum-ba-da-da-da-da. And we have an answer from Cynthia and Jeff. Yeah. Very well done. You know you're deaf. It is true that Graham Chapman, he died early. He was the first one to die. He died years ago. Can you believe it? In 1989. Graham's been dead like 30 years already, and he passed away at the age of 48. And Terry Jones, we lost him just this year at the age of 77 after that really, really terrible story of, for the past couple of years, he had been losing the ability to speak. He had this weird disease that caused complete aphasia. No, not aphasia. He knew words, he just couldn't formulate words anymore. And he was the guy who was a Chaucerian scholar in his heyday, as well as a comedy writer and comedy actor. So that was pretty sad in terms of that. But yeah, but 4 of the Pythons are still alive and with us. And on this date, back in 1969, Monty Python's Flying Circus was ordered to go into production by the BBC. Yeah. By the way, welcome to Brian. Oh my God, our friend of the Daverhood, Brian, and from my writers group back in Colorado. Welcome. Hope that you're doing great and good to see you. You're just in time for the 3rd hour, or going into the 3rd hour of Dave's Gone By on this Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. I'm Dave Lefkowitz. My darling and adorable wife, Joyce, was helping out with the show earlier. She's still around. What else? So our detective, Hercule Potato, he's with us here. And this is our 747th episode of the program. We're calling it 747, ready for takeoff. You can watch us, of course, on this Facebook page live every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts, or of course catch the archives, whether you want to scroll down on our Facebook page. The archives for the past like 3 years of video are still there. You just have to keep scrolling and scrolling, or go to davesgoneby.com and our archives from back when we were just a radio show in 2002. It's all there, all free, all the interviews we've done, all the episodes. Do check it out, davesgoneby.com. So anyway, we are in the midst of, and we have a couple more questions in our Today, Yesterday quiz, where it's trivia, and you're playing against my cousins, Cynthia and Jeff, who are doing pretty well. I think there's something like 3-3 or 4-3 or something like that. Our next and penultimate question. The year 1969, 6 days after its debut in the United States, The Who's rock opera Tommy was released in England. So a week after they released it here, on this date, The Who's Tommy was released as a concept album in the UK. Famous songs on the record included I'm Free and Pinball Wizard. Which of these less famous songs is not on the original 4-sided concept album of The Who's Tommy? Was it, or is it, I'll give you a choice of 4, Fantasy Magic, Do You Think It's All Right, Sparks, or Miracle Cure? Okay. So on this date in England, Tommy was, Tommy, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Tommy? So Tommy was released. Everybody knows I'm Free and Pinball Wizard, and Fiddle Around, of course. But which of these less famous songs is not part of Tommy, the concept album? Is it Fantasy Magic? Do You Think It's All Right? Sparks, or Miracle Cure? Which is a song title that is not part of Tommy? And I'll say this too, it's not part of Tommy the Broadway musical either. So that's, I don't know if that's a hint, it's just being more clear. Cynthia and Jeff, or Brian, or anybody. Christina, somebody. We have an answer from Cynthia and Jeff, and she says letter A, Fantasy Magic, was not on the Who's Tommy. Well, Cynthia, I have to. Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. That is a title that I just made up out of my own head. All the others are actual songs in the rock opera Tommy. Do you think it's all right? Sparks and Miracle Cure. Well done. I'm not a big Who fan. I would not have gotten that. Horton would have gotten that because he hears the Who all the time. Comedy is what I do. Ready for our last question on our Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the Stream in our Today Yesterday quiz. We move up to 1971 and we stay musical. Speaking of rock groups, this band, best known for the epic song. So somebody's giving me, are you doing that? Oh no, somebody else is giving me shocked faces for my joke. I don't blame you. I honestly don't blame you. This band, best known for their epic 17-minute song, In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida, broke up, or at least the original lineup did. Can you name that band? So on this date, all the way back in 1971, this band broke up. They were best known for a very long song called In-A-Gadda-Da-Vida. Can you name the band? I'll give it a moment before I start singing the actual, the bass line and stuff. I'll start singing. Dam dam da 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 dam bam 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 ba dam bam ba da dam bam 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 ba. Does that ring a bell? Ooh. Are people having trouble coming up with the answer to that one? Had a very psychedelic cover for the album that was on. There we go. There we go. The answer, yes, was Iron Butterfly. It wasn't a trick question, really. They did break up in 1971. It's just that after that, they got back together in so many ridiculous iterations that I think there is still now a touring version of Iron Butterfly that doesn't have any original members in it because most of them are dead, but there were people who were in Iron Butterfly all along and they still do their thing. But the original basic lineup of Iron Butterfly broke up on this date, May 23rd, 1971. Well done, Cynthia, and especially Jeff, apparently, for the musical answers. How did you guys do out of the 9 questions we asked? I feel like Cynthia and Jeff rocked it, that they got something like 6 out of 9. Is that about right? And how did you all do? I hope that you had fun. That's the point of hopefully everything we do here. One day was gone by every week. And every week when we do our Today, Yesterday quiz. Well, it is about 7 of 9. And, if you've ever seen Star Trek, 7 out of 9 is a nice thing to have. My wife's not paying attention. I can make jokes like that. Okay. But what I can do is tell you to hang around for more of this episode of Dave's Gone By, because we've got the Wretched Pun of Destiny coming. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and we also have Dave's Big Dictionary. So still more delights, in a manner of speaking, ahead. As a matter of fact, why don't we be punderful, since I've been making terrible jokes all along? This will be worse than any of them. Something that we've been, I was doing years ago and stopped doing for very good reason. The police warned me about doing this more. Governor Cuomo warned me to stop doing these because I was polluting the atmosphere. I was doing these Wretched Puns of Destiny, these little tiny short stories that were capped by a play on words so awful that I apologize for them before I make them. I apologize for them after, even during. In my soul, I am apologizing for doing this segment. So I stopped doing it for about 2 or 3 years when I ran out of them. And then recently, for no particular reason, I picked them up again. They started occurring to me. So yes, we have our 70th Wretched Pun of Destiny. And I'm going to ask, Joyce, are you in the middle of something?
Just give me 1 second.
Yeah, because I let her, she's working on some stuff of her own at the moment, but I kind of need the reaction. I need the interaction just for this segment.
Thank
I need you to
No,
be
I'm
disgusted.
Sorry, David, I've not been.
Yeah. No. Most of the time I'm fine,
You need my
but with this
disgust.
I need your face
Oh.
to play to when I do the Wretched Pun of Destiny, because it is wretched. And oh my God, the window's open.
Yeah, oh, wow.
We've got the air conditioner on and the window's open.
It's also raining.
Oh. Thank you, dear. So, yeah. Now I can play to. Do you want to be on camera? Because I would love to show your face during this. Or we can play to our dog. There's Ufti, alive, reasonably well. This is our
Don't
beautiful
squeeze
dog.
them too tight like last time.
Ufti Guft. Say hi, Ufti. He's a sweet little thing. And he's the one. Oh, let's show his nails.
No, David, please. We're negligent. I don't want to show
know.
people how messed up we are.
Well, you speak for yourself. You're being negligent. I'm the one who has sex with him every other day. But no, that was not. Wait, no, hon, I need you. I need you for the pun.
Just give me 1 second.
All right. Well, the Wretched Pun of Destiny has to do with Sir David Attenborough today. British broadcasting legend. We're going to tell a quick little story about him that ends in a play on words that is just shameful, quite literally shameful. So I'm just going to, what else do I want to tell you? Oh, did I ever mention that you can write to me, davesgoneby at AOL.com, DAVESGONEBY at AOL.com. And would love to hear your thoughts, positive and negative, keep them positive. Or your ideas for future shows or great things to do on the program, what you've liked about the program, suggestions for guests or how to contact cool guests. Dave's Gone By at AOL.com is the place. You can also, of course, message me right here on our Facebook page, just at any time, whether it's during the show, you can type to me in our messages or throughout the week. I'd love to hear from you. I don't necessarily get a chance to respond to everyone or to write back, but I certainly try and read everything. So whether it's davesgoneby@AOL.com or right here on the Facebook page, Dave's Gone By is the name of the Facebook page. And do follow me, please, on Twitter. Radio Dave 2 is the place to do that. Radio Dave and the number 2. So there, I think I've exhausted that. All right, I'm going to do the Wretched Pun of Destiny for today. You've been multiple times now, you have been warned. The Dave's Gone By, Wretched Pun of Destiny. British broadcasting legend Sir David Attenborough, best known for his nature documentaries, was invited to be a guest on Letterman. The day before, the writers had him tape a comedy segment where he thumb wrestled an iguana. On the show, the audience went crazy when they saw footage of Attenborough letting the reptile win. Even more impressed was musical guest Joey Ramone. Inspired, he grabbed his guitar and started singing, 24 hours ago, iguana beat Sir David.
I feel shame. I feel great shame.
We here at Dave's Gone By apologize for bringing you the Wretched Pun of Destiny. Yeah. I did warn you. I did warn you all 24 hours ago. Iguana beat Sir
I
David.
hate to say it was very cute.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Joyce just said she hates to. Why do you hate to say that?
Because sometimes they're really bad. And this one was very cute. I thought it was very cute.
Well, thank you, my darling. Thank you.
Cute little,
Notice the backhanded part of that. Of like sometimes they're really bad,
no,
but this one,
sometimes they're really,
yeah, I know. Oh, I know.
upsetting.
And now everybody out there knows. So thank you for tuning in for that. And now we're going to reward you, perhaps, in a manner of speaking. Well, first of all, we want to pay tribute to our friends of the Daverhood. Then we're going to have our Dave's Big Dictionary segment. And then we'll cap things off with our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But yeah, although we don't have a guest, or did not have a guest on today's episode of the show, we have had many wonderful guests on the program over the past 17 and a half years that we've been doing the show. So we like to keep tabs on them. We like to say, hey, these wonderful, talented people who have done amazing things in art and culture they've been on this program. We're honored to have had them. And we're wondering, hey, what have they been up to since they've been on the show? And that's why we do our weekly segment, The Friends of the Daverhood. So yeah, and like all the other creative people, Friends of the Daverhood have been trying to be pretty active under these crazy circumstances. For example, Alan Menken, our musical friend of the Daverhood, and Glenn Slater, who have worked together on other projects, they are going to be doing the musical score for the animated film Spellbound. That is, I'm not sure if it's Disney or Sky something that is producing the film, but they just signed that deal. So we'll be hearing their songs in a film called Spellbound in a year or two. Robin Hitchcock, one of the best interviews we've ever had on the program. Robin Hitchcock, you can see him. He's doing weekly quarantine concerts on this app called Stage It. And they were having some trouble with the app, like we were having trouble with Facebook earlier in this broadcast. So sometimes they have to go onto Facebook for a little while and then go back onto Stage It. And I think you have to pay something, or at least make some kind of donation for Robin Hitchcock to do this, but he's been doing it. I mean, he has an extraordinary catalog of songs. As a matter of fact, I was just listening last night to the Sound Opinions radio show on NPR, and they played a Robin Hitchcock song, and they said he's so inexhaustible. If there's anything in the universe, Robin Hitchcock has probably written a song about it or that goes with it. So extraordinarily talented, incredibly creative, and a wonderful interview. So if you want to see Robin Hitchcock do basically a song acoustic on guitar with his live-in, I don't think he's married, I think it's just his girlfriend and co-musician, chiming in on harmonies and stuff, you're going to want to go to Stage It to watch Robin Hitchcock, R-O-B-Y-N, Robin Hitchcock. So, yeah, check that out. Want to let you know that this weekend was supposed to be the Lower East Side Festival of the Arts, this cool festival for all these downtown theaters, I guess, like Theater for the New City and La Mama and places in the East Village. Well, it isn't happening in actual buildings, but they've moved it online. And among the people who are participating are several friends of the Daverhood, including Austin Pendleton. So we have an Austin Pendleton alert. Ah!
When do we not have an
From Pendleton alert. Also, Charles Bush, our recent guest in the Daverhood, Phoebe Legere, Penny Arcade, and they're even showing a piece, or they're showing, I guess, the entire play, The Disputation, which was directed by our friend Bob Calfin and features our other friend, the late Theodore Bickel. It's all part of the Lower East Side Festival of the Arts, virtually online, happening today and tomorrow. Speaking of, let's see, moving on, we've also got Gary Lucas. Oh, he's doing a virtual concert at Virtual Joe's Pub. Joe's Pub, of course, the club that is connected to the Public Theater downtown on Lafayette Street in Manhattan. Joe's Pub and the Public Theater closed for the foreseeable future. They moved online, and you can watch Gary Lucas do a concert, and that is tonight. Also, speaking of concerts, Jorma Kaukonen is doing his 8th live solo concert from his Fur Peace Ranch. He's been doing it week after week. People have been tuning in and enjoying this acoustic concert from this guy who was in Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna, Jorma Kaukonen, our friend of the Daverhood. And again, another one of my favorite interviews ever on this program, Christine Lavin, beloved Christine Lavin, is part of Don White's weekly Musicians Forum, and this will be happening on Monday. Go get donwhite. I don't know why I'm doing the donwhite.net to see Christine Lavin take part in this forum, which I guess is songwriters talking about the craft of songwriting and, giving each other suggestions and ideas and also playing their music. Sounds pretty great, and Christine Lavin is certainly pretty great herself. On May 29th, we'll just lower the music just a skosh, because it's starting to get on my wick here. Our friend of the Daverhood, Judy Collins. Yes, Judy Collins was a guest on Dave's Gone By. Back in 1970, she released an a cappella recording of the song Amazing Grace. And it actually went up the charts. It was a big hit for her. And if you love the song Amazing Grace, well, she is redoing it. She's re-recording it, and she's getting virtual choirs to help her out. So if you go to, I guess it's her website, you can be part of the choir that sings along with her this new version of Amazing Grace. And speaking of saying grace, or I can't really do a transitional thing here. I do want to send out condolences to our recent friend Edward Einhorn. I'm sorry, I don't remember if I also did this last week, but he lost his mom a few days ago. So, big sorrow to this director and playwright, Edward Einhorn. So, just a shout out from us here in the Daverhood. Want to let you know that PBS, Public Television at pbs.org, is showing all 4 Gabriel family plays, which were done at the Public Theater. They're all plays by Richard Nelson, and they star our friend J.O. Sanders, 2 more friends of the Daverhood there. Annie Golden is Madame Floy in the musical Bleeding Love that you can listen to via Apple Podcast. And then I want to remind you, I wasn't sure about this, so I checked the website again. The website StageBuddy.com, which was founded and is run by our friend Evan Seplow. I was thinking, well, it's all about New York nightlife. Are they even keeping it going? What's in there? They are, and they have all sorts of stories about musicians and concerts and theater things being done during the whole COVID pandemic crisis. So check it out, StageBuddy.com. And yes, Dr. Demento is doing new Dr. Demento shows at drdemento.com, as well as archiving all the old ones, all for a very reasonable fee. And finally, Bob Cudmore doing podcasts about upstate New York history at bobcudmore.com. Those, my friends, are the friends of the Daverhood. Joyce is asking me if I need more beveragings. Oh, well, she's saying, great show. I need you to help me, wife Joyce, beautiful, adorable, wonderful wife Joyce, with this next part of the segment, the next part of the show.
Uh-oh.
Before we get to our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, and I know you're all waiting on Tinder hooks for that, and those are the most painful kinds of hooks, I'm going to need you to open up that book right there. Here, let's get it. Also, I'm vamping a little bit because it's only not even 11:30. I'm going to be short on this show. But here's a big old book here. Webster's New World Dictionary of the American Language.
Want me to log off and talk with you?
Oh, well, no, because this is a monologue. But you know what you need to do.
Okay.
So we take this book on a segment. I don't know if do I have music even for this? I wonder.
I think you do.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
Music right here.
So let me explain. Joyce is going to take this book. She's going to thumb through it completely at random, like so.
Unrehearsed.
Unrehearsed. She might even close her eyes, or she might not. And she's going to put her finger on a random place in the book. Whatever word on which her finger lands, I will have to, I actually used to make her do this in the beginning of the show, which would give me some time to actually come up with something to talk about. Now I'm going to have to do it really extemporaneously. I don't know how I'm going to manage. But yeah, and I'll have to do a short monologue about whatever that word brings to mind. Whatever comes into my head. It could be free association, or it could be really direct, or I could just be flailing and rather desperate and drowning. So we have called this segment that I used to do about 3-4 years ago. And I ran out of time in episodes to do it. We'd be going like 3.5 hours into the show. And then I would lose, I won't have even time to do the segment. But today we have time to bring back a segment called Dave's Big Dictionary. Extra, tell all about it. It's Dave's Big Dictionary. Okay, hon, it's almost for you. All right, so if you can hold, you don't have to be on camera. I know you don't like to be on camera, but show that, yeah, look at it. Look at the flipping there. Random. And then whenever you feel, whenever you're ready. Or do you want me to hold the book and you can? She put her finger down somewhere.
Albany.
Albany?
The capital of New York on the Hudson. Population 130,000.
Well, back. Well, let me figure out when this did. Thank you. Albany.
Want me to do another one?
No.
I could do a
That
second.
breaks the rules.
Okay,
No.
okay.
The rule is
Okay,
Albany.
It's actually very, very appropriate now, right?
Exactly. It's a proper name. And by the way, this Webster's New World Dictionary of the American Language, this is the concise edition, even though it's, how many pages? It's 890 pages long. This is an edition that goes all the way back to, isn't it great to look at books again? The most recent edition was 1966. Have there been any words since then? Or did they have them all?
No, there are no more words, honey. That was it.
2 years after I was born. My parents were probably pushing on me early. Dave, why aren't you reading yet? So here's the book. And for some reason, it's got the capital of New York in this book. Albany. Let me find it on here. I'm vamping. It's a noun, of course. The capital of New York on the Hudson. It'd be interesting if somebody could Google and find out actually how many people live in Albany. Yeah, do you have a moment to?
Yeah, of course they do.
Okay, and this will also give me a moment to think what I want to talk about Albany, New York.
Is it this? No, wait, that was on my phone. I'm not sure. What's the population of Albany, New York right now?
In 2018, the population of Albany, New York was 97,279.
They
went
lost
down.
people.
Yeah, but Syracuse went up.
Well, actually, we heard this week, we read this week, not to get completely off topic, that we were living in Greeley for a bunch of years.
Decrease?
And Greeley, for the past 3 years, has gone up in population and people living there and moving there, while Boulder has gone down. So everybody makes fun of Greeley, and Boulder is like this shining city on the hill. Boulder, and Boulder is cool. Boulder's got restaurants, and it's got the Fringe Festival, it's got stuff, and it's got very hippy-dippy kind of people who are very pro-environment and stuff, cool coffee shops and stuff. And Greeley's like, well, stinky Greeley JBS plant, foreigners being killed by COVID and by being chopped up in meat machines, and a university that's financially failing. Quite a town, and yet more people have been moving there. A lot of them having to do, though, with the oil boom, such as it was for a little while. But anyway, I've been stalling, haven't I? To talk on Dave's Big Dictionary about Albany, New York? Well, I'll start with saying that I've never been. I think that's an unfortunate thing on my part, that having been 50, I'm now 56 years old, that in my life, I've been to certain parts of New York. I've been all over much of Manhattan. I've lived in Brooklyn, but when I was a child, and visited Brooklyn very infrequently since then. I've lived on Long Island and been kind of up and down on some level the South Shore of the island. I've been to Coney Island when I was a kid, but not in 45 or so years. And a little bit of Westchester here and there. We went to Rye for a weekend, I think, and I've been to Monroe in that area because I have relatives who owned bungalows and things up there. But it's amazing how little of this state overall that I have been to. And it's a function of my not being having not been a driver for much of my life. I didn't get a car until we moved to Colorado. So I was always reliant on the Long Island Railroad or the subway in Manhattan. Wasn't really a bus person, or on my own feet. And it's kind of hard to walk to Westchester, let alone upstate New York, to get to places. But how is it that all these years I've been to Russia, I have been to Romania, I have been to France and England and Ireland, and have not been to Rochester and Syracuse, New York. I'm not a skier, so I think there's something to do with that as well. And haven't been even to the capital, Albany, this whole part of the state. And I guess it goes to that New York-y thing of like, well, if you're in Manhattan, Manhattan is the world. And I think I lived in Manhattan for a year with a roommate when I was going to college. But it's sort of like Manhattan stands for everything. When they talk about New York anywhere, in the movies, when they talk about New York on TV, they mean Manhattan. And Long Island, at least the southwest shore, is close enough to New York that you feel part of that too. It's like, oh, in Manhattan, they're really talking about us because I can get on a train and be there in 45 minutes. But I feel bad about that, about never having seen the county seat of government that's up there in Albany. And we were talking, I mean, how can I get away from talking about this now? I guess it does dovetail with what's been going on, and that our governor, Cuomo, I keep wanting to call him Mario Cuomo, because that's how old I am at this point, but Governor Cuomo lives there, resides there, and does his daily briefings there. And I get why he's so popular. I get why people are comforted and appreciative of his long, I don't know if they're that long anymore, but these press conferences that he does every single day with the same refrain. It's like, oh, 100 people died. He doesn't want to say, yay, it's going down, because there's 100 families that are grieving. So he's got to be like, the numbers are going down, but it's still 100 dead. It's terrible, it's horrible, it's tragic. But underneath, things are getting better again, And people do want to hear that. And they tune in, they want to hear the latest. They want to know how many hospitalizations, how many incidents. They want to know how things will open up, when, if they're in one of the regions that will slowly come back to life. And if so, when, or if so, how. I know I'm rambling here, but that's part of Dave's Big Dictionary. I was on a call yesterday with the place that I work. And it was amazing the stuff that they were talking about, right? About, do we wear not just gloves, but face masks? I'm talking about like entire face shields from my bald forehead on down below my beard. And do we have some people who are really worried? Do they wear gowns? And by the way, I do not work in a hospital. I do not work in a clinic. Should not let me anywhere near a hospital. No, I work in a place that serves the public in an important way. I think it's kind of an essential service, but I'm glad it's really not, because I've been able to be off for the past 2 months. So all this talk about what to do, how you sign in, right? Because I hated this. We have a sign-in thing where we come into work. And it's not honor system. It's not put your name in a book. It's not even the old-fashioned punch card that they used to have back in the day. They've got this thing where you have to put your thumb down on this piece of glass, and the glass reads your thumb. There it is. And then you pull your thumb away. And they think, oh, there's hand sanitizer right next. So you get your thumb all uchy, you leave your uch on the glass, and then you can sanitize it. No, it's ridiculous. It's gross. Why they couldn't have thought of doing like eye recognition instead, because they only put this thing in like a year ago. Or just go back to punch cards, or everybody brings his or her own pen, and they just leave a book, and you sign your name in the book, and sign in, sign out. Big freaking deal, you know? And they'd have more trouble with this thumb recognition software. And people would stand there for a minute and a half because it wouldn't read their thumb. You know, there's, oh, did I do this finger? I got to do this finger. And then they have to go to the woman administering all this and say she have to go upstairs and retake their fingerprints again to see if it would work on the machine. The hell with, and it's gross. It's disgusting. You've got 50 people walking into a building within 45 minutes, and they're all like, nah, and, okay. Yeah. So they're figuring, well, what the hell are we going to do with it? Nobody wants to do this. Certainly not now. But it goes from that to saying, do we all wear masks? Do the patrons all have to put on masks or face guards? How we distance everybody? Do we let 50% of the people in the building now at any given time before we can ramp up months from now, before letting people just be back normal? I mean, it's just all this going on, and that's why people are looking to Albany, looking to Governor Cuomo for that kind of guidance, that kind of Papa Bear leadership, even if he's made mistakes along the way, even if New York should have been closed or separated back in February, which would mean that we wouldn't have to be separated now, possibly, probably. I'm certainly no expert about all of this. But, you know, I get the appeal of what he's doing, and yet there's also this sense of shut up. You know, just come on for 2 minutes, tell us how many dead, how many people got it.
You know what it is, David? It's Cuomo fatigue. Cuomo fatigue.
People are getting, I've gotten Cuomo fatigue. People, I don't know if they've gotten it. You know, the women love him. He's got that sort of Italian brio with apparently these beautiful hard nipples that look like nipple rings. I don't get it. Apparently, some of the shirts that he wears, there's nipplage that is quite fascinating for women. And, well, I can ask you, I know you're busy over there, but you took an instant dislike to him.
I grew up, so being a Tyrolean, I grew up with many Italians, like American Italians, and I think he's very, like, too machismo, you know, too much.
People want that, though. And you know, again, if you compare him to the kind of convoluted and you know, what our president gives, and I don't think Trump has been doing as horrible a job as everybody I know thinks. I think he made some horrible mistakes early on, and he says ridiculous things and tweets ridiculous things. But there's this, you know, when you listen to a Trump speech versus a Cuomo speech, you get the difference between somebody who's just running off crazy at the top of his head to someone who at least has talked with experts, who is taking very seriously the opinion of both scientists and store owners and government leaders and such, and then synthesizing all of that into something that he can tell the general public without either alarming them or depressing them too much. Right? So I get why he has more appeal in that way. Anyway, what else can I say about Albany, New York? About it being sort of the county seat. I'm blanking, which is
a tough one.
It is kind of a tough thing. It's one of the state capitals I remember when I was a child. You know, I do that whole thing of Bismarck, North Dakota. Because you figure Fargo would be, no, it's not. Philadelphia is Philadelphia? Or is it Harrisburg? Is the capital of Pennsylvania. So I don't even remember these things now. New Jersey was Trenton, wasn't it?
I don't know.
So, why? I guess it was to help our synapses develop as children, that they made kids memorize the state capitals of these. It's a completely useless thing. Even before, you could just get on your telephone or any device and get, what is the capital, just in case for some reason I need to know. And yet this was the thing. It was beyond just geography and knowing where your state was in comparison to the rest of the United States of America, or knowing where America was in relation to the whole rest of the world around the globe. I get the importance of that and the value of that. I get knowing as an American what all the states were, and kind of realizing that Idaho is somewhere towards Westy, and Louisiana and Alabama and Mississippi, for sheer historical modern purposes of knowing about the South versus the North and slavery. It's good to know that Missouri isn't somewhere under Oregon. It's good if you're learning history to have that map, those shapes in mind to some extent. Whether you need really to go to a blank map and be able to fill in where all the states exactly are. So to know and not reverse South Dakota and Colorado, Idaho and Iowa, not so. But then this idea of having to recall 50 state capitals, places that don't, half the time, as I said, the cities themselves are not as important as other major cities in that state. You're not going to go there unless you become a politician. There's nothing important to know about it as a city beyond that the capital is there. It's not like learning that, in Peru, they eat this, and Lima is the capital, and that's where Lima beans come from. Don't tell your kids that. I don't think that's true. But where you, at least in Spanish class or French class, they'll go and say, in this region of France, they've got the wine grapes, and the Basques do this, and they do the brioche. Okay, I get it. But there's nothing to know. I'm going to, hell with it. I'm going to actually do this right now. I'm going to get up all the state capital. I'm sorry if this is annoying with me typing here. But let me do this. What are the state capitals in a list? Here we go. Well, Phoenix is pretty good, but here we go. Tell me something about Pierre, South Dakota, right? Except that they've opened that place up for business, and COVID cases spiked, but they seem to be doing perfectly okay anyway. Boise, Idaho. I had my oldest friend in the world, Ozer, who has been on this program. He moved for business reasons to Boise, Idaho for a few years, many years. It was the most boring, horrible place he's ever been to. Boise, right? What do we need to know? What? Topeka, Kansas. The only thing we care about Topeka, Kansas is that it is the capital of Kansas. And Baton Rouge, right? I know that Randy Newman mentions it in a song about the Great Floods. Right? Montpelier, Vermont. Oh, wow. Maple syrup. Well, that's all of Vermont, not necessarily Montpelier. Why do you need to teach a 7-year-old? Oh, the capital of Vermont, Montpelier. Who cares? Why are you wasting us? As I say, unless it's develop memory cells so that you remember other things. And when you start learning math, you remember this equation, you remember what this stands for. And if you start learning foreign languages, you learn right back, Colorado, Denver. Okay, great. Denver, great city. Been there several times. Fabulous. Lots to learn about Denver. Sure. Juneau, Alaska. It's Alaska. It's snow. That's what you got. You got snow and oil. Okay? And Sarah Palin.
Why did you turn into Mario Cuomo?
Is that why am I sounding like Mario Cuomo now?
You're like, then Juneau, Alaska.
It's his nipples. They've hypnotized me. And I'm channeling Cuomo now.
Hypnotized.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I mean, it's just like these ridiculous... Lincoln, Nebraska. We went to Nebraska. We went to Omaha. And Omaha wasn't all that memorable. It was okay.
We had a tornado.
And we had a tornado, and we never got a steak. All right? So that's Omaha. It's not Lincoln. So since we're talking about Lincoln, I'm going to log out of that list there. Okay, Lincoln log. I kid.
You're on a
But-
weird roll today, David.
Oh, I am. But it's just this idea of the state capitals, and that is somehow a
What did the
thing.
state capital ever do to you?
It wasted my time.
You're like hostile. I've never seen you. You're like hostile about state. David, it's just state capital. You're like going crazy. It's just a capital. They
Well-
have to have a seat of legislative power. It's just a seat of legislative power.
Yes, but
It's
why
a
do you need to
physical
know it?
entity.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is, why did I need to learn
I don't know,
by
David.
heart each one? I mean, and you've never seen me hostile? All I am is
So
hostile.
when I went to Catholic school, we go
Yeah.
around doing times table. You'd stand up and they say 2 times 7,
Yeah.
5 times 8, and if you got it wrong, you'd
Mhm.
stay standing. Then they say state capitals,
Well,
Mississippi.
is that, well, it would be Jackson? I don't know.
And if you got it
Yeah.
wrong, you'd have to stand up. I have trauma about state capitals.
Mississippi was what?
I
Wait,
don't-
it's not even listed on this. Oh, here it is.
I don't think
Jackson. I was right.
It's not a
Jackson.
state anymore.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
No.
Jefferson City, Missouri. I mean, it's like,
No.
well, of course, you know why? You should know. You know me well enough that there are few things in the world that piss me off more, and everything pisses me off a lot. But the two things that may piss me off most are being sort of ignored
Yeah.
and having my time wasted. Those are the things
Yeah.
that
No, that is-
absolutely drive me round the bend. It's kind of like this week when I wanted to get guests for the show. And it's one thing when I'm emailing people, and sending messages on Facebook and saying, "Oh, are you available? Can you? We'd love to have you as a guest on the program. We'd love your work. Blah blah blah." And somebody writing back and saying, "Sorry, can't do it this week." And in fact, somebody wrote back and said, "Sorry, it's my wedding anniversary, so mazel tov, and enjoy, and we'll have you on the program in weeks ahead." Fine, okay. But to send things into the ozone, and it's that thing on Facebook, you can see when they saw your messages. AOL used to do that, where you could tell when someone actually opened your thing and read it, or at least opened it. And then they do that on Facebook as well. If you send a personal message, not a posting on their page, but a personal direct message, it'll say seen. And you can see that the person is active now if they're on your friends list. And it's like, okay, you've seen my message. You're active now. You could just very kindly and in 10 seconds write back, "Sorry, not available."
Oh, how did
Another
you get,
time.
David, honey, you're slipping.
Why?
You're slipping into anger in time.
Yeah.
You went from the state's capitals and yelling about Jackson, Mississippi, to now you're on your tirade why people don't respond.
Well, I'm saying that is the one thing, the being ignored part is something
How
that
does it relate to
enrages
state
me.
capitals?
Because it's that, and the other one is what? Wasting time.
Oh,
There's
God.
nothing I despise, especially as I get older and I have less time on this planet, to people taking time that I will not have. I mean, I can never get back. Time that I could be working on my own stuff. I could be writing something cool, or working on Performing Arts Insider, or just hanging and being in my own head, or reading a book, or whatever it is. If you're going to steal my time from me, you are in some ways a greater thief than if you just go into my wallet and take $20, or $10, or worse, $5. That's the worst. So if you steal my time, shame on you. And I feel like children have hours of their time stolen by learning state capitals. Because see, it all does tie in. I did bring it around. And Albany, remember Albany, is a state capital. So I did bring it all around again to the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, here on Dave's Gone By. Anything else to talk about Albany? Anything else that will really piss me off about Albany, New York?
I hope not. I don't know how you got so upset about all those things, but
Well, I will say this. At a certain point when the railroad is running and Metro North is running and I can get up there, I would like to see
are you going
Albany.
to Albany?
Yeah, I'd like to take a day trip or an overnight, take a hotel in Albany, and look around and see the Capitol building and do other cool Albanian kind of things.
We should do a show live from Albany.
Ah, absolutely. I was really
It's
thinking of
the seat
that.
of the state, right?
Well, when we moved back here to New York, that was one of my ideas, was on the weekends, when we both were free, we would take an overnight and just go and pop into a place either on Long Island or I guess now Westchester, upstate New York, and hang there and go and see the town and go have a meal and maybe go see a show if they have anything playing, or just, just be tourists briefly. Now, I wouldn't want to be a tourist in Albany, New York for 3 weeks. I probably should myself, but for a night or two, I think that would be great. Great. Don't you agree?
I think one night anywhere is good, but too long anywhere is
One night anywhere, except somewhere in New Jersey. But one night anywhere is perfectly lovely. So I'm not going to make this promise because I'll probably wind up breaking it. But I'm in the hopes that one of the places that Joyce and I will go to as soon as we can go anywhere is popping into Albany, New York. Cynthia wrote that their son graduated from Albany 10 years ago, so she visited, and she has in capital letters, Albany, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, nothing to see.
Really?
Ouch. Ouch.
Isn't there a SUNY at Albany?
I guess that's where he went. I thought SUNY was with Woody Allen. That's a little SUNY Albany. All right. Anyway, I think we've done this to death. That is Dave's Big Dictionary for this Saturday, May 23rd, 2020, here on Dave's Gone By in the Daverhood. It's a rainy, gray day. It is a start to a Memorial Day weekend. I guess the weather is helping out. It'll keep people from being stupid about congregating a little too foolishly, and that's all right. But I think we're just about, hey, it's like 10 to noon. We actually filled out a 3-hour show. I think we'll be able to do it this week. And we've done, my gosh, we've done our Inside Broadway segment. We did our Wretched Fun of Destiny, Friends of the Daverhood, our Today Yesterday quiz. We did Greeley Crimes and Old Times. We talked a bit about COVID. I forgot. I have jokes. I have jokes, dear. Are you ready for 2 jokes?
Let me save this. Hold on.
Joyce is saving something, and then after the jokes I somehow forgot, wink wink, that we do have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up.
No, we don't.
Yeah, we do. We're going to Gould, Colorado for
You did that already.
No!
You did.
I wrote it this week. How could I have done this one already? Nope. Last week we were in Cristola. How can you forget Cristola, Colorado? Which I also want to visit at some point. Not. But I'm going to do a couple of jokes, God help me, and then the Colorado Limerick of the Damned, which will have to do with a little place, a tiny unincorporated town in north central Colorado by the Rockies called Gould, Colorado. So are you ready for I know you're in the midst. Yeah. This will only take a couple minutes, and then we'll end the show right around noon. So we're in pretty good shape. Let me get that
I'm
right.
sorry, honey. I'm all over the place today. It's a weird day. Where's my tea? Oh, hold on. I need my tea.
Okay. While Joyce gets her tea, I do want to remind you that we're here every Saturday from 9 until noon or thereabouts, live on Facebook on this Dave's Gone By page. Did you hear? Did you hear about the guy who spent 6 hours at his computer watching videos about constipation?
No.
He couldn't log out.
Oh. David, hold on. I'm sorry.
Oh, that bad, huh? That bad, yeah.
He needed to go to, that was his, what do you call that test you get? Colonoscopy.
Maybe. I think there should be, I do think proctologists should be giving virtual colonoscopies now.
You can.
Well, you back your tushy up to the camera.
And what do they stick in? You stick in barcodes.
Well, maybe one of those webcams that aren't right on the screen, but yeah.
Or you swallow the pill and they watch it.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Ooh, careful.
I almost stepped on the dog.
I have another joke.
Okay, I'm ready.
Testing.
They clapped and did that both at once.
You know, my nephew is terrible with computers.
Really?
He tried to send me an email with 41 PDF attachments. It was PDF-ful.
Uh-oh,
Yeah.
somebody else wants to chime in.
You can tell we're getting down to the very... No, show's almost over. But not before we do our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, where we go to Gould, Colorado.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick.
So today on our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, we go to a little town right by the Rockies. Here is the description in Wikipedia of Gould, Colorado. The landscape is a patchwork of wetlands, pine forest, aspen groves, and sagebrush. In other words, basically, it's paradise. It's named for a homesteader named Edward Gould, and it became a real center of timber, mining, and lumber. In the 1940s, Merrill and Maud ran a popular sporting house, if you know what I'm saying. They ultimately became the more legitimate M&M Lodge over there. Gould also had, this is amazing, a POW camp where they housed Germans and conscientious objectors during World War II. Those cabins after the war ended up being used for 4-H clubs. However, plans to turn Gould into a ski resort were defeated. The town wanted to keep it, for themselves and not turning it into like an international Hollywood tourist destination. So little old beautiful, apparently, Gould, Colorado. I've written a poem about it, as I have written poems about so many other places in that wonderful state. Are you ready for our Colorado Limerick? Ready as we'll ever be. For our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. I weep for the Virgin of Gould, who by a rogue scoundrel was fooled. She slept with a bloke, and when she awoke, her vulva was covered with mold.
That is offensive.
Yes.
That is awful.
Thank you. See, you thought the Wretched Pun of Destiny was cute, but the Colorado Limerick of the Damned, horrible. Yeah. Well, that was our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. Please send your complaints and comments to davesgoneby@aol.com. davesgoneby@aol.com. I still get email the old-fashioned way, but you can also feel free to message me right on this Facebook page. Would love to hear from you. Whether it's complaining about our Colorado Limericks, whether it's enjoying our Today Yesterday quizzes, whether it's suggestions for guests or shows that you've really liked in years past, love to hear from you. davesgoneby@aol.com or post right here. Or feel free, you can message me where not everybody has to read it, or feel free just to do postings all week long on this Facebook page. Please tell other people about this program. Tell them that they can watch the archives at davesgoneby.com. They're free, and they're both audio and video there. We have separate archives where if you don't want to listen to the whole show, but you're interested in a particular guest, we've separated those out, and you can watch the interview or listen to the interview with that guest. You can go to the archive.org website, archive.org, which is a fantastic website, a repository of so many great books and old radio and old television and this show. We've been putting episodes on, we've got the past 6 years of the program up on archive.org. We also have the last 6 years of just the audio of our shows on castbox.fm. That's really helpful for people who just want to listen by a podcast. If you're going to be out and about because now you can be. You can get together with 10 masked friends and hold up a bank or something. But you can get together and if you're driving or something, you just want to listen, it's for podcasts. So we're there as podcasts at castbox.fm. Do check out the episodes there. And we've been posting, I always neglect to say this, but we've got hundreds of our episodes and interviews up on YouTube as well. Lots of places to find and enjoy the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. Well, it is high noon, and we've experienced both highs and lows on this episode of Dave's Gone By. You've seen my rage over state capitals. Whoa, they're making...
You had such aggression toward Albany and then to Jackson, Mississippi.
Whoa, there's something about Pierre, man. Or one of some of these others. Oh, they're getting me mad again. Where's some... Let's see, some of these other terrible places. Madison, Wisconsin. Well, Art Paul Schlosser's from Madison. Olympia, Washington, right? Nothing should be named Olympia rather than Dukakis. All right, Austin, Texas. Austin's great. Fine, this is cool. Salt Lake City, that's a pretty neat place, except in the summer where it's hot as hell. Honolulu, Hawaii. Or some of these are okay. We were in Hartford. There was nothing special about Hartford, Connecticut. That was kind of a hole. St. Paul, Minnesota. You didn't like St. Paul, right? It was all right. Augusta, not Georgia, not the Augusta National. Augusta, Maine. What's in Augusta, Maine? Nothing. I mean, it's probably gorgeous, but kids don't need to know this. Stop it. So, in that $3 trillion bill that everybody signed off, and the Democrats and Republicans, and there's pork in there, and there's stuff for performers, there's stuff that goes beyond immediate necessities of getting through COVID. They should have snuck in a codicil into the budget that says children should not have to learn state capitals except of their own state and 3 others of their choice. They could go on a map and pick 3 other states where they have to remember the capitals of, forgive the grammar, and that's it. No more. No more. Oh, it gets me.
Oh my God, David. Are you going back again? Let it go.
I can't. I can't let it go.
This will make you happy. Why don't you read from the book? Why don't you hear? This will calm you. Here's your happy place. Show them your happy place.
A little treat for me and Potato.
Your happy place, honey. Go to your happy place.
Potato.
Go to your happy
on the
place.
bike. I'm going to open the book. Go to my happy place here. Have you ever seen a carrot taking a bath? No way.
Jesus.
Okay. A broccoli that can take an Amtrak to Jackson, Mississippi.
Honey? No.
Cannot
You're supposed
deal.
to be a happy place. Breathe. Happy place.
Can't be happy. Cannot be happy thinking of state capitals now. It's just ruined my weekend. I know we just started the weekend, but I'm all befluxed and beflummeled. Maybe I'll be better by probably not, but maybe I'll be better by next Saturday, which I believe is May 30th, 2020, for the 748th edition of the Dave's Gone By Facebookio Podcastio Programmio of the stream. 9 to noon next Saturday morning. I might find the guest. I might not. You might get more of this. Either way, we do them, and we have a great time, and we hope you do too. I want to thank all of you folks for tuning in. Let's see if I can go back and see some of the people. There's Brian and Cynthia and Jeff and Kristen and no, I can't. But anywho, but thanks for everyone who tuned in for a little bit for the whole thing. If you missed part of the show and you want to see the rest of it, give it a day, and we're going to post the video, hopefully, on davesgoneby.com, where you can watch it there, or just scroll down and watch it right here on Facebook. Thank you to my wonderful, darling, and adorable wife, Joyce, who made me a delicious vanilla raspberry seltzer soda. That's you go into one of these coffee shops, they charge you like $3.50 for one of those things. That was absolutely lot.
Ridiculous, right?
Love you. Well, I do love you, sweetie, and I thank you so much for your help and for everything you do all Did you just give me thumbs up or somebody else did?
No, that was someone else.
Somebody's giving. I bust my ass for 3 hours. I mention your name and everybody's giving thumbs up. Well, how about some love for me?
I hate people.
For Dave, who puts this show on.
I hate people good.
How about some thumbs down for state capitals?
Oh, not again. David, let it go.
It's
please.
time to go. It's
Let
time.
it go. State capitals are your friends.
Let it go.
You were like, I've never seen you so hostile about it.
Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. There goes the Daverhood and Gone By.
Days gone by, days gone by, days gone by, days gone by, days gone by.
Dave goes. Oh, Frankfort, Kentucky.